Maybe it's the way that we feel. Everything around us unreal. Spin around and round, yes, we found melodies inside us collide. Maybe it's the way that we feel. Everything around us unreal. Spin around and round, yes, we found melodies inside us collide. Now we're trying, unwinding, our dreams are taking flight. We're minding, we're flying, we barely touch the sky. We're playing and tempting, so ready to ignite. Oblivion takes so far. Maybe it's the way that we feel. Everything around us unreal. Spin around and round, yes, we found melodies inside us collide. Maybe it's the way that we feel. Everything around us unreal. Spin around and round, yes, we found melodies inside us collide. Now we're trying, unwinding, our dreams are taking flight. We're minding, we're flying, we barely touch the sky. We're playing and tempting, so ready to ignite. Oblivion takes so far. I don't wanna be the only fighter in this battle of the sand. I don't wanna be the lone survivor. Can we defend the land we conquered back in high command? I don't wanna be.
Welcome to Rokk Around the Clock, Google Stadia news and gameplay live at the same time every day, Monday to Friday. Every day we check out the latest Stadia news across the internet live, closing with Stadia gameplay and chat with your host Rokk and occasional guests. But first, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss out on the latest Stadia news. If you'd like to support my content, please consider joining Team Rokk by hitting the join button on this page. Hey, hello! Oh boy, am I excited on so many levels! Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. One more day, folks, until Friday, and something very big. Do you know what? I know I've been hyping you all up, and I know, you're kind of getting a bit hypey, and you're like, oh, what can it be? What is it that John and Rokk are going to announce? You'll find out tomorrow, but let me just say it got a lot bigger. I've been working on it all day with John, and I had what we were going to do was already massive, and I knew that the community are going to love it, and you will, but I just felt like it needed to be bigger. So I've spent the whole day making it a lot bigger with John. Working on the show for tomorrow as well is going to look amazing. So I'm super hyped. And look what else happened today. We got a stealth drop. Did I not tell you, fellas, that the week would see more, that it wasn't all over yet for September. And little birdies are still telling me that the night is young. So watch this space, as they say. I hope you're really, really well. I am. Honestly, I'm super excited. Not just because there's so many of you. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in every single day. It means so much to me. Let's have a quick Mugen Live. Mugen Live is used as member chat. So you get a member chat every time you go through a month of being a Team Rokk member, where it's that lovely little golden shine and just looks amazing. Thank you so much, Mugen Live, for being one of our members. You're an amazing, amazing individual. Jerome is in the house. How's it going, Jerome? Good to see you too. And look at that, it's got the lovely little moustache and everything. You could. I do you know what? I never really watched that the butthole thing. I forgot what it's called, because it was just there was a lot of things I missed out on. Being a little older than most of you, it just kind of never happened for me, but I wish I had, and it would be lovely to share some of that cultural reference stuff. Good to see you though. There's Phipps. How are you, Phipps? Phipps won one of our prizes the other day, and yeah, good to see you with the old cat glasses on. Essence of excellence. Rock Mirth. Hey to you, my friend. I hope you're keeping well. Looking forward to Friday. It's almost on us, folks. Dre, how are you, dude? Where are we? 6:10 where you are. Hope it's South Park. Thanks, Jerome. I hope it's still nice and sunny. It's getting a bit cold now. I've got to show you something. Hang on. Oh, it stretches across and he produces these, my fingerless gloves. I'm not kidding. It gets so cold in here. This is my dad's cave, my gaming fun place, my YouTube studio, and of course my office. So I spend a lot of time out here. It's a converted garage. The cars have to sit outside, or garage, but there's no insulation in here. There's windows and it's lovely. I get lots of light, but flip me, it gets cold. So last Christmas I asked my mummy to make me some fingerless gloves, and she did, bless her. So they were out this week and I had them on. It got cold. It is cold. It's probably not as cold as, I'm in here. It's 24 degrees right now, so I really am protesting too much. But trust me, if I leave the room without any kit on for a bit, woohoo, it gets chilly. Big Steve, happy Thursday, everyone. Yeah, to you too, my friend. Thanks for tuning in, as always. Great to see you. Another Team Rokk member. Special members, the lot of you. ER Gaming. Afternoon again, Rokk Show and Chat. Another member. They're everywhere. They're fantastic. Roby. Sorry, my friend. Obi Rose Kenobi. What's up? Look at that. He's given me an extra 2Ks. That's good, because if you'd lobbed one off of there, mate, that would have been disturbing. What's up, bro? Lurking at the moment. Hope all is well. Yes. Do you know, I think I just went through a milestone on my subscriptions, which is just amazing. But, oh, guys, I can't wait for tomorrow. Everybody, let me just say this, and this is all I'm going to tell you. Every single person in the Google Stadia community is going to benefit in one way or another. Well, at least they'll have an opportunity to benefit, let me put it that way. So it's exciting stuff. Redo Baggins, hey Lee, how are you, dude? Good afternoon to you too, my friend. I hope you're keeping very, very well. Good to see you. Appreciate you popping in, my friend. Lee's very well. Lee actually shows up later in our bookmarks. As you know, Lee frequently makes a showing in the bookmarks. So we'll get over to Lee later. It was nice music, isn't it? I thought I'd start the show today, and forever actually, with these kind of random tunes. They're all copyright free. And so I'm going to do that. I'm not going to start with the actual intro music, because you get that when we do the intro, don't you? So I thought we'd start today with these lovely tunes, just to kind of chill out and get in the mood. A couple of minutes, and then I'm not one of these that likes to leave people for 5 or 10 minutes before the show starts, not least of which because if you're watching it after as a VOD, as the professionals call it, you don't want to be fast forwarding for 10 minutes. So I typically just leave it for a minute or so. In this case, I had to just go and powder my nose, as the ladies say. So it was a couple more minutes than I would normally be. But so I hope you enjoyed that. It's good. It's good stuff, wasn't it? Believe Flew another Team Rock member. He's back and better than ever. Well, thank you, my friend. Yeah, I'm feeling really sprucey. I'm having a sprucey bonus day. And make sure you all hit that like, comment, share, and sun button. Oh, thank you, my friend. Rokk, get all the great news. I've got some good news today. We've got some great news to go through. The only thing is that I do get a lot of news at the same time as all the other sources do. But of course, our show comes at the beginning for some. If you're obviously on the West Coast, you've just got out of bed, you're having your breakfast, you maybe started work. If you're on the East Coast, it's lunchtime or it's coming up to lunchtime. So you've had a whole morning to catch up. And if you're here in Europe, then the day is coming to its natural conclusion. Work is over, dinner's on its way. So you've filled up with the news. But it's a good time. It's a good time to kind of get it out for everybody. So we got some good stuff today. Thank you, Jerome. Yeah, South Park. Exactly what I knew I didn't mean. And Pete's there. Afternoon, Rock and Chat. Nice game drop today. Oh yes. Oh yes, 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 yes. Here I'm still running around with my upper body in natural clothing only, which I assume means bare skin. Oh wow. Yeah, it's about 13 degrees, which I think is, what is that, 50, 60 something in old school money. Already exist. How are you, my friend? Yo! Dang, I wasn't hyped, but I am now. Yeah, I think it's worth being hyped. I was concerned at the beginning of the week that we may have overhyped it. John wasn't. I mean, he's absolutely insane. Yeah. So I tested it out on William and Ray after Stadia Rokk show and said, "Look, guys, this is what we're planning on doing. What do you think?" And they just went, "Oh, amazing!" So I feel a lot more comfortable. And then I've just turned up the dial. And let me just say, if it was big, it's now big and a half. It's much bigger. So we look forward to that. Yeah, it's currently cooking dinner. Macaroni cheese. Of course, what you Americans call, what do you Americans? Mac and cheese, don't you? We've always called it macaroni cheese here. I do love it. But as you know, I've been on a carb-free diet for 2 months. I've lost the thick end of 12, 14, 28, 40 pounds, 3 stones, something around there. Urgent, this is not fake. Stadia will wind down January the 18th. Really? Where have you guys seen this? Well, that stopped me in my tracks, guys. Let me just put, where have you seen this? The Stadia Android app, the Stadia store is closing. I'm not seeing anything on Twitter. Let me go to Stadia. Well, that would be rather a disaster. We'd have to put tomorrow's show off. Okay, I'm having a look in this. Just it was quick over to the news laptop anyway. So here I am in the store. Yeah, go to the store link and scroll to the bottom, but I don't know if it's an error. Yeah, until we see something official. You on about this? Stadia will wind down 18th of January. The Stadia store is now closed. What? What? Well, that goes nowhere. Whoa. What can I say, folks? That was a genuine Hindenburg moment. Until we see more. But that's, if that is an error, or if that's a joke, that's not particularly clever, is it? The Stadia store is now closed. Okay, let's try and buy something then. Flip on a stick. Well, for a start, it's going to... it's going to get the haters out for the fun of it, isn't it? Let me go and see if I can buy something and see what happens. Oh, flipping flippers. Don't worry, you won't see any of this. Yeah, like all these things, we can't... Right, I'm going to try buying the Elder Scrolls. Let's see what happens. I can always cancel it. I mean, it's going through to the normal purchasing. It's not said go away, I'm closed, has it? Okay, well, I'm going to continue as if nothing has happened until we hear that something has happened. I'll put Stadia in, see if we can get something up. Oh, hello, The Verge. Google is shutting down Stadia. Oh, shit. Well, guys, I didn't expect to see that one. Hey, Primo, thank you for joining, my friend. Let me turn off Spotify because this is quite a sobering moment, isn't it? Let's read this through together. Google is refunding all Stadia purchases, hardware, software, and DLC. Members of the Stadia team will be carrying this work forward. I think we have to take this as serious, guys. Google is shutting down Stadia. It's a cloud gaming service. The service will remain live for players until January the 18th. 4 days after my birthday. Thanks, Google. 2023, Google will be refunding all Stadia hardware purchased through the Google Store, as well as all the games and add-on content purchased from the Stadia Store. Google expects those refunds will be completed in mid-January. I'm kind of feeling a bit bummed. To be honest, I don't really know what to say here, guys. I never expected this on my watch. A few years ago, we also launched a consumer gaming service. Stadia Vice President and GM Phil Harrison said in a blog post. Okay, let's get to the blog post because that's where this meat and potatoes. So this is 1 minute ago. Okay, well, it's not. It's today. I'll read this in its totality, guys, and we'll have to take this as gospel, I'm afraid. For many years, Google has invested across multiple aspects of the gaming industry. We help developers build and distribute gaming apps on Google Play and Google Play Games. Gaming creators are reaching audiences around the world on YouTube through videos, live streaming and shorts, and our cloud streaming technology delivers immersive gameplay at massive scale. A few years ago, we also launched a consumer gaming service, Stadia, and while Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on a strong technology foundation, it hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected, so we've made the difficult decision to begin winding down our Stadia streaming service. We're grateful to the dedicated Stadia players that have been with us from the start. We will be refunding all Stadia hardware purchases made through the Google Store and all game and add-on content purchases made through the Stadia Store. Players will continue to have access to their games library and play through January the 18th, 2023, so they can complete final play sessions. We expect to have the majority of refunds completed by mid-January 2023. We have more details for players on this process in our help centre. The underlying technology platform that powers Stadia has been proven at scale and transcends gaming. We see clear opportunities to apply this technology across other parts of Google, like YouTube, Google Play, and our augmented reality efforts, as well as make it available to our industry partners, which aligns with where we see the future of gaming headed. We remain deeply committed to gaming, and we will continue to invest in new tools, technologies, and platforms that power the success of developers, industry partners, cloud customers, and creators. For the Stadia team, building and supporting Stadia from the ground up has been fueled by the same passion for games that our players have. Many of the Stadia team members will be carrying this work forward in other parts of the company. We're so grateful for the groundbreaking work of the team, and we look forward to continuing to have an impact across gaming and other industries using the foundational Stadia streaming technology. Wow. Well, guys, what can I say? That was not what I was expecting. I certainly wasn't expecting it on my watch. I suppose optimism and hope can be blind, and there will be those now that come out from the woodwork to go, haha, told you so, and best of luck to them. And I don't think this, to be honest with you, is a time to be gloating. There are many people that will be upset, me included, at this news. Let's just say that certainly what we have planned for you tomorrow may have to be postponed. I'll have to have talked to John about it. Certainly the show will have to be postponed. Now, obviously, my entire channel is aimed at Stadia, so I've got to give that some thought as well, not least of which so many of my good friends, Dan, who's in the chat with Lee right now, I know this will have come as a surprise to these guys as much as it is to me. I have only ever been told positive things behind the scenes. I'd heard about Turkey coming online. Obviously, Mexico was being lined up. I'd heard about webcam becoming an aspect of game streaming from Stadia in the very near future. Games that I'd heard were coming to Stadia. But I have to say, this does put the whole Mirage thing into a different pot. And yeah, there's a lot of people that have grown up around Stadia, me included. Yeah, I do stuff on other platforms, but this is where my heart is. Most importantly, it's with you guys, and the community is going to be broken apart. There's no other way to put this. There will be, they're saying they're going to refund everybody by mid-January, and they are literally saying every penny that has been spent. See if I can find that Verge. Here we go. It's only going to remain live until January the 18th. That's it. They're refunding all hardware purchases. I'm assuming that includes, right from 2019, all games that have ever been purchased through Stadia. I mean, it's going to cost them it's going to cost them almost as much money as they've ever turned over just to shut it down. Wow. This is a really bad look for Google. A really bad look. There's no other way to put this. It's okay, Google. You don't need to respond to that. Phone kicked in there. End of an era. Yeah, it really is, Sean. I'll be honest with you. I'm struggling to show emotion here, to not show emotion. So many of us were completely involved in the community. I mean, there's no question that Stadia could be improved. There's no question that the quality of the technology needed tweaking after 3 years. But we all thought that was coming. I don't think any of us saw that. Well, there clearly are one or two that decided that this was going to happen. And I'm not going to knock them. You all know who I'm referring to. I'm sure they're lurking as we speak. And without doubt, well done. Well done to you. You've got connections. But this is not a time to gloat. People will be upset by this. This is, there are some people, this is all they do is play games on Stadia. A lot of people, that's all they do. And there are people that have been out and bought televisions because of Stadia and handheld devices because of Stadia. They're not getting a refund. They didn't buy those things through Google Store. It's awful to see. Where do we go right now? Luna doesn't exist anywhere else but the States. GeForce, I love GeForce Now. I'm not, I'm an ambassador. I've never made a secret of that. I love it. But it's not for everybody. And it's, not necessarily for the average Stadia player. Boosteroid, possibly, but it's really just GeForce Now in another guise. And quite honestly, I'd rather trust NVIDIA anyway. Utomic, you pay about the same, if not more, than Stadia every month. You don't get any pro games and so on and so forth. No, this is gutting. This is absolutely gutting. In fairness to them, they've given us, 5-6 months notice. So we've got time to grieve, time to decide what to do. But, you're going to start to see people move from Stadia literally overnight now. So all those games that have been being developed for Stadia, all the people that have been building games only for Stadia, where do they go now? I really appreciate you guys tuning in, because I'm the only, this is my everyday time, and I guess you've all seen the news and you're thinking, how do we cope with this? Like Clive says, the only people who knew this were Google senior management. It's true. This is as big a shock to the Stadia team. Yeah, I know Clive and I have our ears to the ground, as you can imagine, and we get fed from various sources, and I would never give up, and neither would Clive on, we never, even when this is over and done and dusted, we're never going to tell you who those folk were. But let's just say they were incredibly close to Stadia. And this was definitely not hinted at. I'd heard big news was coming, and I suppose I'd seen, as would have Clive and others, that was a positive thing. We knew that, there were other territories coming up. It all looked really cool. It's a full refund accordingly, Holtz. According to this, Verge, and it was taken from a blog post written by, funnily enough, the man that you've never hear from unless it's bad news, Phil Harrison. Wow. The guy is a Jonah. He may as well look like a freaking albatross. He only ever pops up to say, I got some bad news for you. Thanks, Phil. But no, he says that they, is waffling here about gratitude, but of course the gratitude counts for a row of beans when it comes down to revenue. What's a real shame for me is that it really felt to me, and I know others felt the same way. I know Clive definitely felt the same way, but it felt like they had hit the sweet spot. They'd found the market, that they were on the right track, that, like a butterfly, I suppose. They'd been through their chrysalis stage, and they were coming out as a brighter, more attractive thing. But when they got rid of, when they got rid of Stadia Games and Entertainment, which, let's be completely honest. It was cutthroat. It was Night of the Long Knives, and I think it left a bitter taste in people that had invested their career in Stadia, as well as us that were looking for, something that was the third, the fourth platform, alongside Xbox and PlayStation and Switch. And we forgave them that, and we moved forward, and a lot of people couldn't get over that, and they moved on, and they moved out, and they did their thing. And that's anybody that watches my stuff on a regular basis, that I never condemn them for that. I absolutely sympathise with why they did that and how they felt about Stadia. To be honest, my refund will now be able to. We have a Series X. No, it's worse than that for you, Dan. I know you've got GeForce Source, and I guess that's where you're going to plough 100% of your efforts. But you know what? Stadia Source, you guys have been there since the beginning. And my career, for what that is, has run alongside you guys, you know, and it breaks my heart. It really does. It breaks. Deep breath. It does break my heart. I got into doing this because I'd had 3 or 4 years of serious mental issues, largely around running a business. I call it PTSD, and I struggled, and I got to a point in my life just before Stadia that year where I could have got it could have got bad, and I found Stadia, and I found YouTubing, and I found this community. And all I've ever been is me. Honestly, guys, this is what you see is me. I am what I am. But this has been my healing place, entertaining you and enjoying something together, and the feedback and the love that's come back at me. And I'm not alone there. There are others in the community that do this every day, that have been in a similar place and feel the same way. And, my heart's in this. And I know now that 4 days after my birthday, there will be no more Stadia. It's come to the end, and 3 years and a couple of months in. It genuinely is heartbreaking. It really is. I know we're going to get money back, but money's not everything, and certainly not for me. It's not. Again, long-term followers, supporters, you'll know I run a relatively successful business. And money isn't a thing that's ever driven me. It's never driven me in my business. I've never done this for the cash. I've done this for the love, the passion, the truth, and there's so many people in this arena that are going to get hurt by this. I mean, let's have a look at our friends at Stadia Dosage. MM2K, Jack to Slip. These guys have put heart, soul, blood, and cash, more than was ever seen from Google. Most of us have put more effort into this. I mean, I know that they developed the technology, they paid their staff, but in terms of marketing we've been out there as silent ambassadors, with no great support behind the scenes. I've ever been involved in one meeting with Stadia staff right almost at the beginning, when there was about 18 of us content creators of the day. And our big thing was, you guys need to get more behind the marketing. We're out here championing what you're doing and nothing's happening. And yeah, it is what it is. Wow. So what point is there now in buying any more games? Somebody said at the beginning that Stadia, let me just fire it up again, that the Stadia store says you can no longer buy games there. Well, FIFA 23 launches tomorrow. There are people that have pre-ordered. How's that going to work? Let's go to the store. There's a new UI rolling out today. Well, to be fair, like Clive said earlier, look, you know what? This is, as he said, this will come as big of a surprise to the bulk of the Stadia team as it did when they closed down Stadia Games and Entertainment. I know that a lot of those people did not know any sooner than we did when that blog went live, and I would not be surprised if that isn't the case here, which is why I say to those that say, oh, I knew this was coming, there are those of us with our ears to the ground and we heard nothing. There are people working at Stadia that we occasionally hear stuff from, and they heard nothing. So if you say you heard something, it must have been from Phil Harrison. And if you have Phil Harrison in your contact book, then quite frankly, you should be working full-time for The Verge or for one of the other huge blogs, because quite honestly, you're wasted. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to catch up with some of the chat because that's you guys know where I stand on this. I'm heartbroken. I genuinely am, because I can take my voice and I can take my personality and I can, and I can apply it to a number of things. Bjorn and Holtz and myself are doing a show later today. The concept of the show on the Rokk Players channel is that we look at all the games that you get from any subscription that you subscribe to. So the PlayStation subscriptions, the Xbox subscriptions, Luna, GeForce Now, Epic Games, Humble, and Stadia, of course. Well, I'll probably get that show over to my main channel, and I'll probably expand it accordingly. But I tell you now, I'm heartbroken. This is like someone's just told me my dog's gonna get put down. It's like, I can't put it any other way. This is incredibly sad. Clive's right. Rokk is right. Stadia team is in shock, confirmed. And I know they've said we'll find them jobs elsewhere in Google, and they will. They almost certainly will. It's a massive, massive operation. But there'll be people who have been with the project since day one, who are going to be finding out today for the first time that their P&J, their pride and joy, is coming to an end. And it is a dispassionate decision that has to be. There's sometimes, look, I get it. I'm in business, and sometimes you have to make decisions. I've closed businesses down before because they just never had a future, and you can see it. But this felt like if only Google had put more energy into promoting it, it could have had a future. I think it has no less future than any of the other cloud offerings that we've seen come to market. There you go. The trouble is, the bigger a corporation gets, whether it's Apple or Google or Amazon or Facebook, whoever, the more dispassionate they become about their hundreds of thousands of businesses and projects. You have your tiers of management, and at the very top, they just go, Pikachu at the top, they just go, wow, it's not good out there today, is it? Shares are looking pretty rubbish. Inflation's high. There's a war on. Can't get the chips in. Right, that's it. We're making obscene profits, but we need to save money because we need to show shareholder value. The two worst words when it comes to being a consumer: shareholder value, because they never think about consumer value. That comes as a consequence of driving shareholder value, consumer value. Consumers consume and they generate revenue, but the shareholders are the one you really care about. All right, let's have a quick look at these, look at your chats and see where you guys are. Levi, big shame. Hello, bro. Big shame. Potential of Stadia was gargantuan. It so was, my friend. Well, I won't be getting a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. No way. I feel you, buddy. I really do. You're going to find wherever you go now, it's going to feel like second best. And you will see. We'll see deals. I'm sure we'll see. Who knows why Luna hasn't expanded? Maybe they've been waiting for this. Oh, God, I'd hate to be the case. Ant's here. Good to see you, my friend. Phil says already exist. You cursed us, Phil. True. What? Says Barclay. I know, my friend. Hi, Rokk. Hey, Liam. How you doing, my buddy? Cowboy says lethal. You see what Stadia just announced? I turned the music off. I'm sorry. I know this is grim. And there's 40 of you watching now. We've never had that many people watching this show. Thank you so much. And it's good sometimes to come together and share the shock. Because it is. And you know what, guys? No matter what anybody says, we will go through a grieving process. It's natural. When you lose anything, even something as, ridiculous as a gaming platform, and you go, well, hang on a minute, the Queen just died. I know, but I never knew the Queen, but that didn't stop me from feeling the pain that so many other folk did. And it's no different when something you've invested time and passion into, that you've fought for, that you've defended, that you've had battles over, that you've played with your friends, that you've played with your family. When that comes to an end, you're going to grieve. I'm going to grieve. I genuinely, when I come off this chat, I'm going to grab the Kleenex, because I'm not joking. This is heartbreaking, and it's not just me. I'll bounce back. I'll find, if you guys stick with me, I'll stick with you. We'll enjoy gaming in other forms. We'll find ways. Cloud gaming is still, it's still the future. But I so wanted Stadia to be there. Sad day indeed, says Dan. Dan says, I feel like we need to hug. Bro, if you were down the road, mate, I'd meet you for a pint and I'll have a bloody great hug with you. I do. I love Dan. He's such a lovely guy. He really is. Ah, dear. Levi, we had that one, mate, didn't we? Sorry. I should note that when they go green on here, I've already exposed them. They'll lose a lot of money. Wow, that's how I look at it as well. They will get to keep... Well, I don't even know that are they refunding the pro subscriptions? What does it say? What did young Phil have to say? It won't have been written by Phil anyway. January 18th is when it just ends. Do you know what? I wonder what time of the day. We should have a big old show, shouldn't we, on January the 18th? Share our memories. Say goodbye to the old gal. I know Clive's just done a video on the potential for Ubisoft to have its own cloud platform. I'll be honest with you now, this is something that I'd already heard rumoured about. I've spoken to Clive about it over the last few weeks, particularly after the whole Mirage thing. I'm as convinced as he is that it's going to happen through various channels that I've had come to me. And as far as I've been told, Stadia is front and centre in that technology. Now, maybe they've got themselves to a place where they can make as much money by being the backbone, the back end, the backup cloud platform for companies like Ubisoft and others. I don't think they're on their own. I think when you see companies like Verizon, one of the things we were going to look at, when you see companies like Verizon looking to create cloud and game streaming devices, like they're amazing looking, it has to be said, 5G handheld, I think it's fairly safe to say, look, you know what? Just as it has been incredibly easy for numpties like me to set up essentially my own TV channel, right? It's now going to be incredibly easy for game publishers, communications outfits, broadcasters, streamers to set up their own cloud gaming platform. And what Google have done is said, proof of purchase, case study, biggest case study ever. We did it for 3 years and we proved it works. We've got all these lovely folk that have said amazing things about us. Look, there was this guy, Clive, and he had this channel and he was saying this, and there are these guys over at Stadia Dosage and this idiot Rokk, God bless him, governor. And then, and we'll see it in other places. Netflix have come out and said, well, we're going to go full on for our own game creating, our own game development studio. I don't know how much information. I actually did have it as one of our bookmarks. I don't know how much information they've said, but yeah, it's a good question. That's going to be down to Purple and the guys, of course. I mean, don't forget, we've Stadia's kicking around until the middle of January, so we've got 5 or 6 months before it ends. I'm going to speak to John. I will speak to John, we may still go ahead. We might. Oh my God, I got you guys so hyped. Rightly so. There's only 4 people in the world that know what we were going to spring on you tomorrow. but it was very much Stadia centered. That's the problem. Pro service isn't going to be refunded, says already existed. Yeah, okay. Do you know what, mate? I'm so blind at the moment. I've got red in my blood right now. I'm feeling, the more and more I think about it, the more angry I am. What did they say? They said it here. Phil said it. Grateful. All game. Okay, so hardware, games, and add-on content. Yeah. So pro subs won't be refunded. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we had the additional service. Although I always said it from day one, it should never have been wall gardened. If you bought a game, if you bought Red Dead Redemption and you didn't have Pro, you should have been able to play it in 4K. You bought a 4K game. That was always bad in my book. And I suppose you've had an opportunity to play all those games that they've put out there. You've got 6 months to play Hot Wheels. I don't know when they're going to... They haven't said when they're going to stop the Pro service, have they? So are they going to... At some point, they've got to say, we're not taking your money anymore for Stadia Pro. We're not giving you any more games. Are they just going to say, flip it. Let's open it out to 4K. Here you go, guys. Fill your boots. You can't buy games anymore. I mean, I think you can, but they're going to stop it. It literally says at the base here. We broke this, guys. You broke this right at the beginning of the show, before The Verge and others went live. Stadia's store is now closed. I mean, I tried to buy something. It didn't stop me. But it's essentially saying it's closed. So at some point, we're going to... Now that the blog post has gone live, we're going to see this move to the top. I don't know what this is all about. I suppose it's just saying, should be over that side, really. It's just a double banner. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, well, I mean, look, well, they never said how many people were Stadia subscribers, pro or free. Jack and others did a fairly good job of estimating it based on gameplay, but some people have Netflix and never watch it, like my mum and dad. So I don't know that you can get how accurate it can be, but there had to be in the hundreds of thousands. There had to be. I mean, there's what I've always called the bubble. Okay, you guys essentially, and me, and my friends that are, by and large, the guys that you watch on content creation every day, Stadia creation. And then there are people outside the bubble like Sunny. Now, Sunny has 25,000 subscribers or something in that reach, okay? The biggest dedicated Stadia content creators have got 2,000 to 4,000 subscribers. And that's the bubble, because those are you guys. That is the sub base that watches this content on a regular basis. So we know that something like 15,000 people that watch Sunny have no idea that Rokk or Clive or MM2K exists. Well, we can also assume that that's as a percentage is going to be, bearing in mind what Stadia is, which, as I would say again, is kind of a casual gaming platform. And I take my brother or my kids, not my kids, they watch YouTube all the time, but my brother never watches YouTube, never watches Twitter. He's a Facebook boy. Facebook boys hate Twitter. So he's not aware of this bubble and he's not aware of this content. So we can safely assume that the 15,000 people that are dedicated to watching Sunny probably represents no more than 5 or 10% of the ongoing gaming, Stadia gaming subscription pack, which is roughly 150 to 200,000 people. That's my guess. maybe 500,000. It's not going to be much more than that. But that's 250 to 500,000 people that are going to be very upset over the coming hours and days as they find out that this is being shut down. And yeah, okay, you're going to get your 50 quid back for your original. I can't remember how much we paid, guys. How much was the original members thing? Yeah, on live. That was another huge potential. Stadia is 100% closing, Liam. We have it from Phil Harrison here on the Google blog. This is published today. So no question, 100% it is closing. It will be closed by January the 18th. I always said, and I genuinely felt it as well, whenever this conversation was had, well, what would happen? I think Ant talked about it once, and I may have just been in the chat or contributed to it, but, what would happen? And they had terms and conditions that said they would see you all right. But I always imagined that they would run it down over a fairly lengthy period. So they would say, as they have done, you can't buy games. That's it. And the games that you've got will allow you to play them for so long, maybe a year. But they're not. They're saying 5 to 6 months. They're saying 5.5 months, aren't they? Give or take a few days. Oy vey, oy vey, oy vey. 50 of you watching. You guys that have just joined it, absolute gutting news. It's good that we are all together to talk about this. And I know there are those that are going to be chuckling away. They're probably lurking now, thinking, haha, can't wait to get out there and said, I told you so. But I hope they don't do that. That's pointless. At the end of the day, we are gamers. And this is how I see it. Gamers, cloud gaming, Stadia. And that was my passion. My loyalty was to you, the community, front and center. I've never been paid a penny by Stadia. They've never given me as much as a free game code. They've never been in touch with me privately. They sent me the drinks thing and a backpack and stuff. But me and 30 odd content creators at the time, I have no loyalty or allegiance to them on a commercial level. But what I have is a loyalty to you, to the 50 odd people in Team Rokk, my members, to those of you that continue to generously support me with chats and donations, to those of you that turn up every day and watch me waffle, to those of you that promote the shows and follow me on Twitter. And this is echoed and will be echoed by every content creator in this space. Everybody that is proud to put Stadia 100 on their tweets. It'll be echoed by us all. Gamers first, that's you. Then cloud gaming. And, as you guys know, I'm a GeForce Now ambassador. I've never been able to try Luna, but the minute it goes live, I will absolutely subscribe. I have tried others, but I never saw the advantage to me, so I've never continued those subscriptions. And services like Boosteroid gave me like a free 10 hours or something to try it out. I think I still have 7 hours left. So, gamers, cloud gaming, the future, 100% the future, and then Stadia, and that was the way my passion went. But Stadia for me was the lifestyle choice for cloud gaming. If anybody could make it work, Google could, but it was clear. Do you know? I don't know. We'll never know this. I really hope, cynical head on, I really hope that they didn't make a decision pre-Stadia Games Entertainment to run Stadia for a certain period of time in order to sell it as the back end cloud gaming platform for people like Ubisoft. I'm absolutely convinced that that is coming. And then to wind it down. I really, to God, I really hope that that was never the intent from that day, and that this is something that has really only come up relatively recently. Because if that's the case, that's so disingenuous to you guys. But, you know, it's a product to them. It's a service. It's all about that shareholders' value. I'm going to catch up with some of you guys. Let's have a quick look. How far back can I go? You can't buy games right now. Well, it says that on the website, Jerome, but as I showed very early on, I did actually attempt to buy a game and got as far as the point of it saying, do you want to pay via PayPal? Which is why I buy everything on PayPal. So I've got to assume it would have allowed me to go further. Do you know, I do wonder, guys, you know, we were going to cover a load today. Hot Wheels, obviously. Hot Wheels comes out. We're all so excited. And what a fantastic game. And then this to talk about a shit sandwich. The other piece of news was, of course, that there was the new UI that's being rolled out as we speak. It's Stadia Dosage, we're covering it. Do you know, I do wonder whether the new UI is, or will have, once that's fully expanded, that's when you'll have the store shut down. Oy vey, oy vey, oy vey. I haven't even checked my Twitter. I don't know how many, I've got 10 DMs that can stay silent. By the way, I hadn't seen this yet. I mean, I have seen the graphics and I've seen other people, but it hasn't rolled out to me yet. Looks good. Whew. But yeah, at this moment in time, as far as, actually, it's at the store. Hang on a minute. I'm at the store. I'm only seeing my games. Everything's gone. Let's refresh again. It's literally all there is in the store. Look at that. This has now been moved to the top, as I said it would be. And now all that's left is all games. They have literally taken down the store. Holy fuck. Wow, they move fast. So home and store is now the same thing. Pretty much. What about explore? I didn't even get the emojis. I didn't even get the little smiley cons. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Guys, we had it live on here. It broke on here. This is going to be a historic show. Rokk's show, Rokk Around the Clock, is going to go down in history as the show when Stadia closing was announced. That's really not what I ever wanted to happen. Yeah, I claimed it as well. You can play it. And they're not saying you can't play your games. They've actually said everything will work until January the 18th, and they've said to give you time to finish your games. Why, thanks, Phil. Little pat on the head. Thank you, my friend. 120. Yeah, I thought it was about that because you had the 3 months, I think, of Stadia Pro. I forget now. You could give a friend a month or something. You got the Google Chromecast. You got a controller. Yeah, it was about that, wasn't it? So I don't know if we'll get that back. I bought 2 or 3 controllers, loads of games. I could have a bonanza in January. I really don't want it. I want my baby back. Hendo, hey buddy, I feel for you. Let's put a lot of money into this platform. Yeah. Well, yeah. Don't even know what to say. Imagine how I feel, David. Oh dear, when I first saw the news, you can go back and see it. You can wind it back. I genuinely almost blubbed live on stage. It won't be on screen, and it won't be the first time either. First time I played Tomb Raider on Stadia, I felt like magic. I know, buddy. All those Division 2s and Destiny. All those devs. I know. A lot of them will be moved on. A lot of them will move on. I mean, within Google. There'll be no more game releases on Stadia. All games that were coming to Stadia are being cancelled. Yeah, guess so. If you have Ubisoft Plus, don't forget you can still play on your PC or on GeForce Now. I'm not sure how it ever worked with Luna. Never got a chance to find out, but I've always assumed that's the same there. It'll be going to Xbox and to PlayStation soon as well, so you won't lose out there. What are they going to send me? Cash? Oh yeah, wouldn't it be the absolute insult to injury if you got Google credits? Thanks, Google. No thanks, but no thanks. Yeah, I want the money. Show me the money. Plus, the pound was worth a lot more then. Can I have it at that value? Yeah, it's absolutely, Cal. We don't hear from Phil Harrison for 2 years, and then the Baldy pops up and goes, it's me again, Prophet of Doom. Here's another one of my famous blog posts. Only this time, it's you. Thanks, Phil. Liam's been subscribed to Stadia for ages. Well, yeah. Me, I mean, I pre-ordered. I'm a pre-ordered founder. $129. There you go. Thanks, Humble. June the 6th, 2019. I remember it so well. It feels like only yesterday. It was literally June the 6th. It was literally, 6 months before we first heard about COVID. And then the following couple of years, wow. A day before FIFA's released. I know. So what my surprise, Alex, every day. Alex, I'm going to still keep it a secret. And that sounds really bizarre, but there's still a strong chance that we may go ahead, but we're going to have to really... Let me think. 1, 2... Several aspects of the big reveal, which, by the way, got bigger today, aren't necessarily reliant on Stadia. So I want to go away and have a little chatty-voo with John and see what he thinks. We may still come back. Yeah. We might come back with some good news for tomorrow. This was going to be really good news for you guys. I trust me, I promise you it would have been good news. So I can see how we can still make this work. So I'm not going to give it away. And I've been working 2 days on graphics for this. You know the sort of stuff I do. I'm not going to, I don't want to ruin it. Happy Martin, so it's not the place to say my opinion. No, well, you can say what you want, dude. I mean, I won't necessarily pop it on screen, but you're more than welcome. As I said at the beginning, there will be people that will pop up now and go, haha, I told you so. And they may not even say it with a gloaty smile, but you'll know it to the back of their heads. And the truth is, there's nothing wrong with supporting something you're passionate about. It doesn't matter whether it's a political party, a religion, a football team, a soccer team, a film star, a comic book, a TV series, a movie. There will always be people that don't feel the same way as you. That's life, right? That's life. But that doesn't mean that because you are passionate about that thing, that you're wrong. Far from it. And it is not right for other people to condemn you because you have a passion or an interest in something. Now, they may turn around and say, no, I'm not condemning the thing. I loved the thing and I would have liked it to have done more. This is all on Google. And you know what? I'm not taking that away. This is all on Google. It's not on us. So as long as that is aimed at Google, fine, but don't aim it at the community. Don't aim it at the community and say, haha, all of you that said those things to me and said I'm wrong, well, up yours. Because this has nothing to do with the community. There is nothing wrong with being passionate about anything in life. And with passion comes the desire and the drive to defend. And we can all say we're wrong, particularly after the event. We can all say that. We can all point fingers and say you were wrong. You know, those that voted Brexit were wrong, and history has proved that to be the case. But they made a decision based on what they felt passionately about at the time, and you cannot judge people based on history. You can't judge people based on how they felt about Stadia before this news. Now, if people continue to defend Stadia moving forward and still say, I still feel that it was the best cloud gaming service, if you added all the bits together, the community, the friction-free UI, the pro subs, the games, if you add that stuff together, there's nothing wrong in saying that. I think that's correct. I'll get down, I can see all of your messages. I'll go a bit further before. I'll tell you what we will do as well. I'm expecting a community blog. Let's see if we get one. Okay, here we go. I knew we were going to get one, guys. Let's read this. Let's see if there's anything new in this. That's life. That's what all the people say. Stadia players. I won't do it with a voice. Stadia players. You may already have seen the message shared on Google's main blog just now. This is from Stadia employees. These are the same guys that probably found out about this the first time that we did, okay? And this is what they will have been given to put up online. This is a short recap of the most important information for players from the main post. You will continue to have access to your games library through January 18th, which if you're not American means until January the 18th, 2023, so that you can complete final play sessions. I wish they hadn't said that. I find that so patronizing. And move your progress to alternate platforms. Well, let's see if they provide tools and support to help that happen. Because there are some games, I have played Division 2. I have played hundreds of hours of Division 2 on Stadia. There is no cloud save for Division 2. So how do I get my saves? I know we can go, there are Google places that you can go and download that data, but I want tools and support from these guys to tell us how we can move our data over and get them working elsewhere. Commerce functionality, the ability to buy games, new subscriptions, add-ons, in-game purchases on Stadia have now been disabled. We've seen that. The Stadia store is no more. All we have on here is our games. Breakpoint, another game I played, there's no saves on that one. Mafia 3 Definitive Edition, luckily. I played that to completion on PS. Where was I when I rudely interrupted myself? Okay. Google will offer a full refund of all Stadia hardware purchases. Founders Edition, there you go. Stadia Controller, Founders Edition, Premier Edition, or Play and Watch with Google TV package. But not the humble Chromecast. Made in the Google Store, and all purchases of games and in-game transactions made in the Stadia Store. The refund process will take us some time to complete, and we expect to have the majority of them completed by the middle of January. So even before 30 days January, isn't it? Yeah, even before they close. Please allow us until this time before contacting our support team regarding the status of your refunds. Poor old support team, those guys are going to be getting it right in the neck, aren't they? Stadia Pro subscription payments will not be eligible for refund. But if you are an active subscriber, you will continue to have access to your library without charge during the shutdown period. So does that mean that if you are on a direct debit or monthly automated subscription, they're stopping taking that right now? Or are they saying if you've got another month's worth of Stadia Pro, you've got another month's worth of access to the library? I mean, I don't think that's very clear. Let me read that again. Stadia Pro subscriptions. Hi, John, mate. I couldn't be more gutted, buddy. We need to chat. I've not said anything on the stream, okay? I've just said you and I need to chat. I can see how we can still make tomorrow, or whether we want to. That's the question, really. I just want to get this clear in my head, guys, and if you see this any differently, please tell me. Stadia Pro subscription payments will not be eligible for refund. Okay, fine, get that, understand why. But if you are an active subscriber, but you're only ever active for 30 days, actually, that's not true. I prepaid or I won, I can't remember. I think I'm active until either October, no, I think it's later than that, actually. Let me have a little butcher's. Let's go to the Stadia store. You can actually see, I think, if you go to your Stadia settings, purchases and subscriptions. January the 7th. Okay, well, I'm good till the end, guys. Death Carnival. All these games that have been developed for Stadia that are just finding out that it's for naught. It's for naught. So if you are an active subscriber, you will continue to have access to your library without charge during the shutdown period. They need to tell us, specify. Are you saying that if from today you had paid up to date on your Pro subscription, that you will continue to get access to your library until January the 18th? Or are they saying they will continue to take the Pro subscription until that point, unless you cancel it? I think it's important to know. As we begin the work of processing refunds to customers, Stadia customer service agents will not be able to provide more information to you. No, I mean, stand down, boys, because they're going to be stressed right out. For information and updates, please review the information on our help centre. We'll have a quick look at that in a second, which will include new information as it becomes available. We'll also contact players directly via email shortly with more information. We want to thank you for taking this journey with us. In particular, the founders and the fans who've been with us from the beginning. The Stadia team poured the same passion for games into our work, building and supporting Stadia, as you have shown us each day in your play. I think there can be no question, guys, the Stadia team, as separate from the board, as the senior management team, that were between the higher-ups that make very dispassionate decisions on products and services and ultimately answer to shareholder value, and the team that delivered us Stadia. I think there can be no question, and neither should we question, their passion and their loyalty to us and to Stadia. Genuinely, I believe that with my hand on my heart. I've been privileged to have known a couple, and some of them have become friends. This will be as much of a shock to them as it has been to us. We must not condemn them. They saw this as a long-term project. I'm absolutely convinced that they were as shocked about Stadia Games Entertainment and as gutted as we were. They found out the same day. I am convinced that they stuck it out because they were sold a future. And I am convinced that they felt they were winning. What we've seen, however, from the top is an effort to save big in order to shore up shareholder value. We are in difficult times globally. Some would argue in some countries, in a lot of countries far worse than we are. I mean, let's take our poor cousins in Ukraine as an extreme. But in the West, for sure, times are tough for various reasons. And, these guys, they will be as upset as we are about where this has ended up. It's funny, I spoke today to a guy I haven't spoken to for 4 years. He's a dear old friend who started my third business with, which was probably my most successful business. It was the first web development agency in the south of England in 1995. Grew to be one of the biggest. We had something like 80 staff and offices in London and where I live. We did incredibly well. And he went off. We both sailed off in the end, got rid of the business. He now lives in the south of France. Well, he lives in France, not the south of France, beg your pardon. He lives in France. And I haven't messaged him for a long time. And I sent him a text and just said, how are you, mate? He said, I'm loving it. It's great over here. And I said, I've been doing this. I said, and it has been my saviour. I have met the most amazing people. It has been my oasis, my paradise, my, to get the love and the support that I have had from this community reflected back at me has, I don't want to be overly dramatic and say it saved my life, but I can tell you it got flipping close before I started this. And I don't feel that, and how many times have people said, and I've seen it yesterday, I've even seen it today in tweets. How many times have we seen people say, I have seen nothing in the gaming community like the Stadia community. Look what's happening tomorrow, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. John's caring from the community. Over 20 platform content creators devoting an hour, 2 hours to streaming Stadia on behalf of a chosen charity. Where do you see that anywhere else? Where does that happen with creators of our size? I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't happen because, I'm sure the Mr. Beasts of the world and the Dr. Disrespect of the world are hugely generous and do amazing things for charity. But where does it happen for what I call small to medium-sized content creators? And I'm tiny. I'm going to break 1,750, I think, today. That's poultry. I was going to say chicken-sized. But you don't see that. This community. It is absolutely amazing. And that's the bit that I don't know. That's the bit that I just can't. Clive spends the whole of Monday writing the most fantastic scripts and then puts the news section together and then does the live engaged point with his thoughts. He won't at this moment. I don't know where Clive is right now, and I'm not going to speak for Clive, but this is, he's been doing that now almost for 3 years. And I can't see him feeling the passion doing it for many other platforms. All I hope is that, you guys carry on supporting these people. These people, it's not their fault. It's not our fault. Yeah, I thought you might be, Clive. Thank you. It's not their fault. It's not our fault that this has happened. It's not your fault. And if you have enjoyed us and what we do, please stick with us, particularly while we transition. We decide we've all got a journey. We've all been on a journey together, and we've all got to decide. We've all got to decide what to do next. Clive says, "Yeah, that's right. Can't fake it." I know his passion comes through on that show, and you can't fake it. Clive's right. I couldn't do this every day. I've had people behind the scenes laughing at my positivity for the platform, you know. I've had that. But it's genuine, the same as Clive's is, the same as John's is. John had a tattoo on his... He didn't do that because he wanted to stick one up on the haters. That's how passionate the man felt about the platform. And it doesn't matter that he has a tattoo on his arm, because what it stands for is 3 years of passion, of entertainment, of serving people, of getting love. You know, that's history. This stuff can never be written off. It happened. Liam's cancelled his Stadia Pro. Yeah, I wouldn't have cancelled Ubisoft though, my friend. I'm definitely not cancelling Ubisoft. That's I love my Ubisoft games. John's in tears. Oh, my friend, don't do that. I love him. He's such a lovely guy. We were so happy when FIFA 23 was announced. I know. I've never had this kind of community. I've never been in this kind of community. I mean, the closest I've ever been to it is my business. And, you know, my business Twitter account has had up to 17,000 followers. It's down, I think it's about 14.5 now. And, you know, a little bit of a man about town with the business and all that stuff. But business is business, and I've never felt comfortable in business community. Most of those people will tell you they're having a fantastic time in life, but they're really not. And most of them are chasing the pound or the dollar or the euro, and that's never been me. I'm too empathic for that. I genuinely feel people. I feel you through your texts. I know how you're feeling. Bless you, my friend. No, Mike is absolutely right. Sad times, but let's remember the community. We've got to find a way to keep this community together. I guess that's where I'm going to on this. Stadia is not the only platform in town. We need together to have a look at our options, to make a concerted community decision, because, and I've always seen this, when people have said to me, and they have, how can you possibly... Oh, bless you, my friend. Be listening to your show today, Rokk. You've been wonderful, not always chiming in, but keeping an ear on you. Oh, bless you. Thank you, my friend. People have often said to me, Rokk, come on, how can you turn up on that show every day and say you love Stadia? Come on, mate. You know it's not technically as brilliant as GeForce Now, and they don't get the games like Xbox cloud gaming and stuff. How can you? And my honest, hand on heart, on my daughter's lives, my honest answer to every single one of them is, I do not do it for Stadia. I do it for you, the community. For you guys. You know, whether there's 5 of you or now 50 turning up every day or once a week or listening back in the podcasts or the VODs or whatever, to get the love and the support and to know that I have brought a little ray of sunshine to your day is why I do this. And it has nothing to do with Stadia. I love Stadia. I've always loved Stadia. I've loved Stadia from the day that it arrived in the post, like Clive's video when he unboxed it, and I fired Destiny up, and I phoned my cousin who was in my Destiny clan, and I said, you have got, because he lives locally, you've got to come and see this. And he came over and I said, look at this. And he said, oh, what are you playing it on? Is that PlayStation? Looks really good. And I said, no, I'm playing it on a server that's probably in London. Mind-blowing stuff. But it's been about you guys. Primo says, Rokk, keep this as a cloud channel and the other channel a console. Yeah, That's great. That's a brilliant idea, Primo. And I've got to be honest. I've made so many good friends. Primo is a guy. Leo. He's a guy. Leo, who I would never have met ever. And there's no way I could have met this guy. He and I are, hundreds of thousands of miles apart in different time zones. And I consider him a friend. Clive, we may joke. Yeah, he may have a little snipe at me in the chat, and I may do the same with him from time to time. But you know what? When we were doing stuff together, we were best buddies. And even now, occasionally, not as much as we used to, because we're both doing our thing and we're busy. But we share so much in common. We're the same age. We're similar interests. We always had a laugh. I've made so many great friends. I don't think there's one of you in this chat that I'm seeing right now that there's not one of you that I don't consider a friend. And I know some of you will say, how can you be friends to people you've never met? Because you just have to have something in common. I've always said to my kids and my wife, when you go through life, whether it's school, whether it's work, whether it's when you have children, you meet people that you have that thing in common with. So, you meet your school friends, you meet your college friends, you meet your workmates. You have kids, you take the kids places, you meet people. They become friends because you have that in common. Now, when you move on in life, you may not be as friendly anymore because the commonality may not be the same. But you have touched each other's hearts and you've shared love, wisdom, support, and sometimes that extends forward. And what we created with the Stadia community transcends gaming in so many ways. And I know people are going to clip this and say, what a load of old bollocks. But I don't care. Do what you want. I'm 56 in January. By the time this thing ends, I'll be 56 years old and I'll only be 4 years away from 60. I can say what you want. Say what you want. But this is an amazing community. And I think we as content creators, our job now is to try and keep this community together. We all need to work together on what's next for us all. What are our best options? I tried Boosteroid, Kel, I really did. I am a GeForce Now ambassador, as you know. So what does that mean? Okay, so what it means is, in my case, I agreed that I would stream at least once a week GeForce Now content. That was it. No money exchanged hands. I've probably had 3 game codes during that time. I do pay for GeForce Now myself, and they top it up to the 3080 tier. That's what it means. Now, I have, and this, I am not a shill. There was a time when I dallied with trying to do cloud as a whole thing on my channel, but it didn't work. And I didn't feel right about it, and you as a community didn't feel right about it, and so I moved it to a separate channel. That channel where I stream GeForce Now once a week has got 60 odd subscribers. I don't turn up, there's a massive Discord with loads of people, and they've made their complete output GeForce Now, and maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But it's this community that I want to keep together. The platform's kind of irrelevant. Matt says, staying subscribed like you. Yeah, well, I've got it until January anyway. I must have paid a chunk. I probably did. I probably paid a chunk up front. Or something. I forget how it works. John, you've been, look, I was telling you about the people, the friends that I've made behind the scenes. People like Chase, who I literally spoke to a few days ago. We hadn't spoken for a long time. He very graciously got in touch because I just popped into one of his streams. He graciously got in touch and said, "Thank you for popping in." And I said, "Mate, long overdue. I used to love tuning in to Chase on a Saturday, and his amazing delivery, his pragmatism, his thoughts, his legal mind, loved it." And he became a really good friend, and he really gave me a break. He got me on his show. And then Wingy, who to this day I still revere in terms of his, what a talent that man had, and a great loss to the Stadia community. And I know that, back in the day, there was talk of me just walking out and stuff. And I bit my tongue, and there are those that know there was much more to it than that. And I will never divulge what happened, but suffice it to say, that wasn't the case. There was reasons why, and I genuinely wish that hadn't gone down. And there are others that after that stayed, that equally said that they wish they hadn't stayed for various reasons. But I will never take away from the fact that that guy was a dynamo talent, and I learned masses from working with Wingy and for watching his show. Masses. These are all people along the journey. There haven't been many that I will say I ever fell out with. There are always going to be people in any community that don't get you, or that you don't work for them. They don't like what you do. You can get that everywhere, aren't you? Consignio, Clive, Rokk, John Scars, and M2K Sunny. I'd rather us have all been wrong and have a great community than to have been one of the bomb throwers. That's a lovely, lovely post. You're absolutely smack on. Another amazing guy who may not ever have been a content creator, but a massive pillar in the community, a massive pillar. Where are you going? Where are you going, Rokk and John? I'm a little lost. I'm not, well, look, as Primo, I'm not going, this channel's going nowhere. I am 100%. This has become, it saved me from a very dark place. And because of what I do here, I've been through some fairly nasty things, both in terms of business and medically, over the last year. And because of you guys, I got through it. Okay, so I'm not going anywhere. This is my oasis. This is, I always think of it like the theme tune from Cheers. Getting away from the world today takes everything you got. Getting away from all your troubles sure could help a lot. And for me, this is the place where I like to get away. It's where I like to come and shoot the breeze and play pool with you guys. So I'm not giving this up. If you guys are prepared to stay with us, we'll stay with you. We just need to find a way to keep the community together. What John and I had planned for tomorrow would have done that. 100% it would have done it for Stadia, for the Stadia community. We might have to cancel the show. I think it's too soon, if I'm honest with you. But I still feel we can bring it back. We can bring it back and deliver it in a form that works for everybody. Brandon, you make my days better, man, because my Florida house is all gone. Oh, bless you, Hurricane Stadia. So Brandon has come in for a lot of flack over the years. You guys know, look, I am Christian, but I'm not religious, but I massively believe in the whole parable of turning the other cheek and, love thy neighbor, do unto others what you would have done unto you, and forgive those, and so on and so forth. And I know there was a time, where, Brandon has disabilities and relies heavily on medication. And he has been, there have been times when he's upset people in the community, when he's not been on his meds or he's not had the correct meds. And he has been ostracized by the community, by many, even recently. He's had DMs from people telling him to cease and desist and stop following them and stop, or they'll report him. And you know, the guy, in my experience, only has love in his heart and has only ever wanted friendship. And he's seen the community as a place where he could feel that. And I talk to Brandon every day, and I always have had since, for some time. And he shares me his days, and he shares me his downsides. And I try and give him friendship as if I'm his older brother or an uncle. And you know what? That we all need to do that. There will be people that we meet in our lives that we feel aren't deserving of our friendship. But maybe it's because they've never had it. Maybe if you or we tried a little harder, they would reciprocate. Just a thought. Thank you, Brandon. Why does this feel like a Stadia funeral stream? Well, the sad thing is, Rudigs, that when I put this show on today, I was in a pretty good mood. The day's gone well for me, and of course Hot Wheels, and I had some good news for you guys. And I've been working all day on the big reveal, and I was looking forward to it. And of course it launched, it landed. It landed in the show. So this show has now become historic. I wouldn't even mind guessing that we have some people that are watching right now who are Stadia team members who are feeling the same way. And we must share a thought for them, because, you know, we're losing a bit of fun. They're losing their not their livelihoods, because I'm certain that there is nobody that will be made redundant. Google's a massive place. And I believe the technology, by the way, will move forward. Clive's touched on it in a video this week, which you should go and watch. It's excellent. He argues the point superbly well. But I think we will see Stadia, or at least immersive technology, arrive in the guise of Ubisoft in the cloud, Verizon in the cloud, Netflix in the cloud. We'll see it happen. I'm absolutely convinced of it. I don't want to lose this community. I agree, David. That's what we need to do now as content creators, as you know, as the community mouths. We need to make sure that we don't lose the community. We need to keep it together, and we need to find ways to do that. And we need to explore the options available to us. It's my job now to start doing that with you guys, to start expanding the cloud gaming remit and talk about the pros and the cons. For example, so I think it was yesterday, there was news that GeForce Now, through a third-party partner, is launching in Australia with ridiculously cheap tiers at about $4. And it might be Australian dollars, which is even less. It's like £2.50 or something. So, you know, cloud gaming is 100. There is no doubt where cloud gaming is going. One of the saddest things right here, apart from the fact that I've just noticed that one of my fingerless gloves is shorter than the other. What the hell's that all about? Mum, one of the saddest things here is I really hope that the naysayers, the doom masters, the doubters, the haters, I really hope that they don't lift this up as a sign that cloud gaming was always destined to fail and that it has failed, because that is not the case. The meta here is that the product, the service, which, let's be honest, never got the marketing love that it deserved. Rokk has a short finger. It's more my arm length. Maybe what I should have always been doing is wearing the shorter version on my wrist with the watch. You my brother, mate. I know, buddy. You're like my tribe. Guys, we're not gonna let this community die. We won't. It would just change. It won't die. We're not Google. We won't let it. Thank you, my friend. I agree. Oh, thank you, Liam. Bless you, my friend. Appreciate that. Primo says, I still love Stadia even more after it dies, since it brought me back to gaming. It did the same thing for me. I was saying to my wife, the other day, before Stadia, my only community in gaming really was the clan with Destiny. And then I would rent a game. I'd play one game, I'd complete it and send it back, and that was kind of it. But since Stadia and building the courage to follow a lifelong yearning to do something in broadcasting, and I know this is very narrow casting in one sense, but to pluck up the courage to do a little podcast, for the first time in my life, I felt like this was something where I could maybe talk about something that I could grow with and not have to come to it as an expert. And then for the longest time, well, weeks, I had no courage. I didn't have the courage to go on screen. I thought, who the hell would want to look at me? And then Wingy popped up on Twitter and said he was thinking of doing a magazine show, a weekly Stadia show, and did anybody want to join? And I just said, I might be interested. And he thought, wow, that guy with that voice, he's probably he always thought I was a radio presenter or something. And that was my big break. And that's when I first went on camera. And really, it was only then going on shows like Chase's show as a guest on the Saturday that it kind of got my courage up, and making friends with those guys and, and Eddie, and being sort of instructed on the hardware and the kit to how to use it and everything. And it's one of the reasons why I've always been passionate about helping new streamers in the community as well. Just sharing thoughts and tips and stuff that I've learned along the way. It's a big September Fool's joke. God, I wish it was. I'm with you, Rudik. I'm with you, my friend. I am with you. And let's make sure it doesn't happen. Joe, how are you, by the way, buddy? I know even up to yesterday you weren't feeling great. That bloody COVID. I was the same. It knocked me out for about 3 or 4 weeks. Yet my daughter got over it in about 4 days. I hope you're well, my friend. See, Joe's been working on an amazing new game and setting up an amazing new game studio, largely with Stadia in mind. I guess the good news, though, Joe, is you're using Unreal, aren't you? Not Unity. So, at this stage, you can still produce it for other platforms, Steam primarily. I guess that's the home of the indie. I was so hoping it would be Stadia. Where are we, Jerome? It's been great. It's been special. It has been great. Clive says, just told my daughter about Stadia closing. She's gutted for me, bless. I know, because this is it, Clive. This is, I know I set the other thing up, but I wouldn't have done that. I just wanted access. If anything, I'm a platform magpie, and I love trying them out, but Stadia's been my spiritual home, same as Clive. Xbox, we'll jump on this now. I suppose if you put your pragmatic head on, for those that aren't as passionate about Stadia, you might say, look, I know it's 100, 200, even 500,000 subscribers, but when you are someone like GeForce Now, with what I think, 12 million, is it? It's certainly in the millions. I've got to update myself on the numbers. I think it's Xbox that's about 12 million. It's a huge number. 500,000's, yeah, they probably pick that up in a couple of months anyway. I don't think they're going to be overly gloaty over it. They might. Do you know what? They're not stupid, these guys. They are not going to put up a tweet that says, haha, don't worry, come and play with us instead. They're not going to do that. They're not. Matt. No, no, Rokk. I mean, I'm staying subscribed to you. I like you. Oh, bless you, my friend. Thank you. Don't care about the platform. Wingy was the first show I started watching. I loved it. We had a difference of opinion behind the scenes. You know, in hindsight, I was probably a bit hot-headed. He was a bit hot-headed. I wish it had carried on. I really do. I was a journeyman. He taught me a great deal, and I wish he'd stayed in the community more than anything. I think he would have been absolutely massive. He may still be, by the way. The last I know, he went from gaming to vinyl, I think, but still doing his thing, still his effervescent self. Google don't know what they've done. This community is a special thing. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't come under shareholder value, unfortunately. If they can't wring the money out of it, they could have done. This is the joke. You know, there are companies and services who would absolutely, they could have sold us. I guess that's where my head is. I mean, let's look at it this way, right? Adobe, them of the Photoshop fame, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe PDFs and so on. Right. They just announced their intention to buy, begins with an F. Oh, I can't think of it. Hang on, let me Google it. For $19 billion. Now, this is a new kid in town. Adobe buys Figma. There we go. Figma. Okay. For $19 to $20 billion. This is a ridiculous sum of money. It's exactly what Facebook paid for WhatsApp, by the way, in cash and stock. This is an app that's only been going, I think, since it says here, Figma's team founded in 2012, but I think it really only kicked off big time a couple of years ago. And how do they come to that valuation? They come to that valuation simply by virtue of how many users multiplied by how much money they could possibly make out of them over time. 500,000 Stadia subscribers, even at $10 a month, is still a community that you can wring more money out of. It doesn't even have to be cloud gaming. And it just baffles me how someone like Google are prepared to just walk away from that. They could simply have, let's see what the tweets say. Hey, yo, what? It happened. This sucks. I met my wife. Oh, look. I met my wife on Google Stadia. Oh, bless him. Casey Newton. I Write Platformer, a publication about big tech and democracy. 1/8 of Side Channel. Oh, bless him. I'm following him. What a lovely guy. Met his wife. You see my point? People's lives have been invested. Look at what's happened in the last 3 years. We have lost people to an insidious disease. We have been locked down where all we've had is this community and gameplay together. We've created careers, some of us literal careers, making money that we can literally, not me, by the way, not by people in the bubble that I pre-mentioned, but there are people who started out doing this with Stadia who have gone on to make at least a decent supplementary income all over Stadia. Absolutely no surprise here, says this individual. Gonna get it. Maybe you could argue that if we took off our blinkers, maybe you could say that there was never a surprise. I don't agree. Cloud gaming is the future, but infrastructure's not there yet. See, I don't agree with that either. And I genuinely think it depends where you are. And as our friends at Chat Stadia said the other day, on their brilliant video, you make a few tweaks to NVIDIA, you can significantly decrease your lag if you are a certain distance from a server. And a lot of this is not so much the infrastructure as your geographical situation. And I will prove this to you, because if I fire Stadia up, which we will do again, I can find it. Here it is. Let's go and buy some games in the store, shall we? Ain't gonna happen, my friend. Let's fire up a game and I'll show you what I'm saying. Any old game will do. Once it gets going, I'll show you what I'm talking about. One thing's for sure, it might start getting even less laggy as people start bailing. I know this has turned out to be a bit of a marathon, guys. We're coming up to 2 hours, but I feel that we are providing a bit of a community service here. We're the place that people can come to right now. Once you're hearing the news for the first time, you're looking around, you're seeing who can I trust for some honest chat, somebody that has been in the community for a long time. And I feel honoured and privileged that you've turned to me. Uno, it's Uno. So what I was hoping to show you, whoops, guys, here we go. Let's wait for this to fire up. No, there's no party. All right, here we go. Let's give it a second. Oh, I've never played Uno before. Wow, who knew? I thought I had the Advanced Stadia plugin running. Let me just put that on a second because that's how I'm going to show you this. I did have it running because the other day I used it once I saw the Stadia chat. Yeah, there it is. And there it is. So why is that not? Oh no, that's something else. Oh, sorry, that's enhanced for Stadia. Stay with me, boys. Manage extensions. There it is. It's turned off. I find that, I don't know about you guys, Chrome seems to sometimes turn off plugins for no real reason. Right, we'll refresh this. And then I probably won't even need to run it because I want to show you why I'm saying that proximity to platform, to hub, to point of presence makes such a difference. Oh, I've never seen that before. Oh, that's just Ubisoft, isn't it? Okay, let's get this up. Right, here we go. So my latency is 7 milliseconds, but on a good day, I can get that down to about 4. Decoding time is 3.28 milliseconds. Well, I get that I'm almost 60, right? I get that I've got, but not being funny, there are peregrine falcons that would struggle to see slowing lag in 3.28 seconds, milliseconds, 3 millionths of a second. You have got to be the world's, let me get rid of this. You have got to have the world's most amazing eyesight if you genuinely think that 3 milliseconds is laggy. That's all I'm saying. And that's not the issue. And why Stadia failed, says Larsen. Yeah, absolutely. Can we get this on? Google promises great future for Stadia. What's poorly aged stuff? Oh, it's the guy that seems to revel in pointing out services that Google's killed off. You're going to get the dissenters and the haters. That's another good question, isn't it? What about the controllers? Do they stop working now? I mean, it's a good point. I can use my Stadia controller on a hard cable, on a cable. And of course, for a while it worked with Chromecast, Google TV as well. But it makes a darned good point here. Maybe they'd unlock that Bluetooth chip that's been sat in there forever. Honestly surprised it lasted this long. Yeah, well, it's all in your name, my friend. Look at this idiot. The 5 people who subscribe to Stadia. Yeah, knob. Laughed my ass off. So he actually, this pillock actually found it funny. Yep, I can see it in your face, my friend. You're going to get it. I mean, there's no point reveling in it. You're going to get those idiots, unfortunately. It is what it is. Pete plays, sorry, I missed that. Not going to go on Twitter for a while. All the Stadia haters will be out in force here. They're already streaming, complaining about the refund model. They never stop dissing. Who knows what they're going to talk about now? That's a good point, Clive. If this was Melon, by the way, which it isn't, it's OBS, I would have got Clive in and John in, and we'd have shared some views. I could rig something up, but I think I'd rather bow out now. Clive, do you want to go live, or are you gonna rather take time out? Because if you want to go live, then obviously I can send everybody over to you, and you can share your views. Because quite honestly, I can't think of anybody else in the community who should be live right now talking about this other than me. So I think it's time that I let some others share the limelight a bit here. If you want to do that. Technically, we have Rokk players in an hour. I haven't eaten or anything, so I really do need to sort that out. But I don't know, it's going to be a morose show. I might just let Bjorn and Holtz do it on their own. Ah, dear. Oh, bless you, Clive. You just be the soothing voice. I think it's salve to the community. Thanks, Rokk. Glad I was here, you in the chat. Guys, I'll hang out with you as long as you need me to. I've got nowhere to go. My wife hasn't turned up yet. She's working today. Bless her. She works for one of the international banks, and she's normally home by now. So, don't know. She must be busy. Maybe she heard the news. N7 Spectres, thank you for subbing, my friend. And apologies if I've not been paying a huge amount of attention, guys. I'm processing this just the same as you are. Finding it as unbelievable as you are. I'm as gutted as you are. You know, I mean, this may be my daily show, but it's not my career. I have a business and I do okay. What this is where I get to hang out with some amazing people, you guys. And that's the thing that I don't want us to lose. You know, Squids in the morning and Clive on a Monday, Primo every day, William, Ray, John, all of these guys, the Helix boys, Sonny, Chase, all of these guys that cover Stadia, that do Stadia content. Take care, Mike. Thank you for popping in, my friend. Dinner needs to be made. Bless you. Bless you. You're a lovely fella. Cloud validation, no more cloud gaming for me. The world's simply not ready. Any further investment will be a waste of time and money. You know, I can understand that sentiment, buddy. I really can. And not just because what you're feeling now arguably is what so many of the people that we've called toxic, but I don't think most of them are genuinely. I don't genuinely think there are that many people out there. There are one or two, but I don't genuinely think there are people out there that have enjoyed pulling the legs off spiders. I think they felt halfway through where we are right now that Google had told them something that didn't happen. They had committed their channels and their time to something that they thought would be bigger and more in tune with what they were hoping it would be, and it never happened. It never came to pass. They felt like they never got the support or the love from Google, and that Google never properly supported the platform, more importantly, that could have been massive. And so, you know, what you guys are feeling now is really where they've been for the last 18 months. So, you know, I'm not condemning anybody for feeling that way. I genuinely am not. You know, right now it feels like we've all met round the campfire every day. We've all met at the local bar. We've had a pint or a glass of water in my case. We've talked about the day. We've talked about our favourite interests. We've talked about gaming. And somebody's come along and said, sorry guys, but the bar's shutting down. 6 months, that's it. You've got to find another pub. That's how it feels. And then some of us are going to go, do you know what? I've spent so much time and effort here, so much money. I don't know that I can do it again. I get that. I truly get that. And look, you know what? I don't know how I'm going to feel when, I mean, I rebranded, as you guys will know. It was originally the Stadia Rokk was my Twitter name. And my YouTube channel was Stadia Rokk. And I rebranded it initially because the rumours went around that Google weren't happy with anybody who was using the name Stadia in their branding and all the logo. And I didn't know if that was the case or not. But what I did know was that I had definitely been muted by Stadia's Twitter channel. I talked to them till I was blue in the face. I never got a response. So I changed that to Rokk Show and Rokk Shows, because somebody that had been around for 10 years and not done anything at all on YouTube already had Rokk Show, and they refused to do anything about it. And I got over the whole logo thing by zooming in on the logo. And whether they like it or they don't like it, I don't really care too much. But, you know, that does mean, as a side bonus, that the Rokk Show can be anything I want it to be, in truth. But the point I was getting to is that it's going to take me a while before I can go, hi, welcome to the show. But I think the one thing where that won't necessarily, as long as you guys come with me, I think we can make that journey a pleasant one. I'm not making a pitch for my channel here. That's not what I want to do, and I don't want that to come across. So, but that's how I feel. I think as I've said now for the last hour, community was the reason I did this for. Community is the reason I do this for. Stadia was my soulmate and where my spiritual home in terms of cloud gaming, but it ain't the only game player platform in town. And I think if we can make the transition pain-free, and I continue to, because if you think about it, I mean, John has committed part of his body to this company. We'll find a way, guys. We'll find a way. Oh no, I wish is he? Cowboy's streaming right now, dancing on Stadia's grave. It's hard to watch. Told him it's. Oh, Ant, I really wish. Yeah, there will be those out there that are. No, look, Ant is a friend of mine. I'm not gonna say anything. If he feels that's the right thing to do for his channel, then it's up to you guys whether you want to watch it, subscribe for more of that, or not. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say, because I like him a huge amount. I genuinely do, and I love what he tries to do. I think he sometimes thinks that he's in a wrestling bout, and we all know that's about as fake as it gets. And I think he sometimes thinks he's a wrestling promoter, but I think he goes about it the wrong way, and, we'll see. Beyond, I mean, had they launched in multiple countries along with FIFA 23 with crowd play and a 30-minute trial and a big marketing push, they'd be swimming in success. It's bizarre, mate, isn't it? They were ready to go with Turkey, with Mexico. There were rumours that they were heading for India. FIFA 23, live in those places. Someone made a decision a while back. This is why I said earlier in the show, I really hope the decision wasn't made around the same time that Stadia Games and Entertainment decision was made. I just really hope that they hadn't said 6 months in, I can't remember now when it was. It wasn't long, was it? A year? 12 months. I just hope they hadn't gone, well, 12 months in's not been much of a success, has it, fellas? Sorry, but you didn't hit your criteria. You didn't hit the shareholder value. So we're not investing any more in it, guys. We're going to give you a year. wind down that thing because that's got 300 staff and masses. We're not paying any more for that. We'll give you a year to see if you can turn around the subscriptions thing. But quite honestly, if you don't hit that target by, make it up, August, that's it. And this is what the exit strategy looks like. That's how much budget you're going to have. And you'll give them 6 months to wind it down. I'd love to think that it was a more recent decision than that, and that it took a lot of effort to make the decision. But cynical head, business head says it probably is the former, if I'm honest. I'm not due for a Stadia Pro change till Jan 21. There you go, my friend, a charge. Mine was till Jan 7, so yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of there till the end. Same says Bjorn, the Stadia community was a bigger part of me getting through the loss of my... Oh yeah, I remember you losing your system. Oh, this is my whole thing, Bjorn. So many of us have shared losses, hard times, depression, anxiety, illnesses, lockdown, friendships, fun, entertainment, happiness, positivity, children coming into the world, all around Stadia and all around this community. Stadia first. We're all going to be changing names, mate, aren't we? I'm amazed they're refunding everything. I'm going to get so much money back. Well, they're not refunding the pro subs, but yeah, if you've bought any games, again, I was saying earlier, they had to do something about the games because, well, they've paid. They sold, they made money, and they gave their percentage to the studio publisher. I don't know what the percentages are. You can make a guess, but I'm guessing that with it being a very young platform, that they took a small amount. So they're gonna get there. It's gonna cost a lot of money because they're not getting that back from the publisher. Pow. Consigno. Google had 128 billion cash on hand in their most recent earnings. Yeah. But as you know, my friend, you're a successful businessman. It's irrelevant. Just like why Adobe are buying Figma for 20 billion. And I know it's a good service, and I know people use it a lot, but let me just put it in a different perspective. If you went out today and you bought everything, every film, every book, every piece of music, every merchandise item, every asset, every cinema ticket ever sold for Steven Spielberg, it would cost you $8 billion. I know this is the case because I did the maths when Facebook bought WhatsApp, and that was a while back. And I would wager that more effort and more people were involved in watching the sum output of Steven Spielberg, with more to come, than frig about in Figma. But the decisions are made based on shareholders and shares and share value. And quite simply, it's, guys, you've not been giving us the dividends you've been giving us for the last 2 years. Your quarterly projections for the next year are not good. Share price is going down. What are you doing to show that you're investing in the future of your business? In the case of Adobe, because their stock did tank, they said, no, we're buying Figma. We're moving massively online. Don't forget, they were one of the first software as a service businesses with Adobe, the whole creative studio thing. They were pioneers in many ways. And they had to show value, and that's why they bought Figma. There's no other reason. Well, there is. They want to expand their audience, but their audience are not buying into Adobe Photoshop. There's a reason they use Figma, because Adobe Photoshop is ridiculously expensive. I noticed that I'm jigging about a bit. It's the lighting, I think. Sorry, let me just get it down. So yeah, that's why we are seeing these purchases. But in the case of Google, they're not seeing. Actually, I think their stock was up today. I was having a look earlier, and it will go up now. It will go up now because this goes to show yet again that they're taking shareholder value seriously and they're cutting out services. And the investors will only have seen the doom and the gloom around Stadia. The likes of well, let's not name them, the big blogs saying it's a waste of money, it's a waste of effort, it's laggy, it's never worked, it's never got the subs, it's never got the people on board, that it's amazing that they've ever stuck around. And that's what the investors see, because how can you possibly, if you are an investor for a large stock brokerage or for an investment company or pension plan or whatever, how can you possibly be as clued up on Stadia or Adobe or Verizon as somebody who is passionate about their products or that works there? You can't. So you gather your data from various sources and you get that kind of mood cloud and you determine whether or not. And so this was an easy kill for Google. Easy kill. Clive says, clearly Stadia just not performing well enough within Google Alphabet. Yeah, I keep saying Google, but Alphabet really is what I should have been using. So up for the chop in Sundar's efficiency drive. Not to say the threshold could have survived under different circumstances. Yeah. Yep. Many other businesses would probably have seen it as a very embryonic success story. Which is why I'm just amazed that they didn't actually look to sell it off. But I don't know that they do that. I just don't know that that's a Stadia thing. I know, take the technology. The technology was there before Stadia, and the technology is now being employed in other places, and it will be there after Stadia. Louise says, Louise, I'm still in denial. I believe on January the 19th, they will relaunch Stadia. Having learned and grown in experience, they will launch Stadia too. Yeah, it would be lovely, my friend, wouldn't it? My optimism at this point's kind of dried a bit, I think. September the 29th, they can't guarantee game performance. Wow. So they're even starting to, by the sounds of this, they're even starting to unman the servers. They're starting to take the staff away. I hope they're not. I really hope they're not doing that. They've said they're giving us to January the 18th. I know, I hear what you're saying, buddy. I'll never go Google. Yeah, well, you knew it was going to happen, didn't you? You're only ever going to get positivity here, guys. And I know this isn't a positive day. Well, it was up until just after 5. It literally was, wasn't it? We went live, and then a couple of you, and I'm sorry I can't remember who it was, said in the chat that the Stadia store was saying it's ended. And at that time, there was still a Stadia store. It's now gone. It's disappeared. So what are our friends saying over at Stadia Source? No, there's nothing yet. Can't blame them, can you? Dan and the lads, Dan and Lee, are as dumbstruck and numb as the rest of us are. What about our friends at Stadia Dosage? No, nothing here. Everybody's dumbstruck. And quite honestly, anyone that's out there with a show right now going, ha ha ha, I did say, didn't I? I think you really need to take a hard look at yourself. Because there are some people that think winning is everything. Oh, don't know what that is. What's that little noise? That's weird. There are some people that think winning is everything, and I completely disagree. Because they will win to the detriment of everybody else. And when everybody is losing, they'll still think that's a win. But dog eat dog is great until there's only one dog left. And actually, there's more winning, there's more success in having a bunch of people that care about the same thing, who give each other support and don't keep trying to bait the bear. I don't know. I'm not watching Ant's show. I don't know what he's saying. I've only got what you guys say. Humble Rokk, you have built an amazing community. Don't feel sad. There are other options out there. The community will continue to follow you. Let's find a new place to play. The fun must go on. Bless you, my friend. Yep, I'm definitely not giving up this channel. We still have Stadia for a little while longer. I think that what I have to do now with you guys is we have to explore the options together. And we'll do that. We'll do that. I might have to take tomorrow off because, as you know, I wasn't planning on doing this show anyway tomorrow. We were planning on doing the big reveal tomorrow. And that would have been... I can't tell you how much I was looking forward to that show. And John, we were so excited to be sharing something with you that we felt would have set the community on, not fire, that's not a nice thing to say, that would have set the community alight with positivity and happiness. And something that would, by my estimation, and I've done the calculations, potentially have lasted 3 months. Which is ironic. So I need to talk to John about what we do now, but I'm determined to come back with it in a form that will still benefit you guys, maybe even more so. You deserve it. Myself and Clive and Stadia Dosage and John and William and Ray and all the others, and apologies because there's so many great guys out there doing this. Ninja Guy X, Helix, Sunny. I mean, you know that the list is endless. We are only here because of you. And the important thing is that we bind together now, that we don't fragment, we don't fall apart, and we don't give all of those idiots satisfaction in thinking that that's what they've been part of achieving. There can be no question in the round, we'll never see the data, but all those massive YouTubers and Twitch streamers and gaming blogs and gaming magazines and vloggers and vodders and all the other guys that were constantly downing on Stadia, there can be no question that they have a part. They've had a part to play in this. Because mud sticks, and as much as we, more than arguably even Google, did our piece to redress that, did our bit to sell the platform to people we knew and know and love and those that we don't, ultimately, in people's minds, as the competition began to brew and grow and evolve, ultimately, those words, those thoughts, that mud would have stuck in their heads. Right. We've been going for over 2 hours now, guys, and it's amazing to think that literally within seconds of going live, we first got the news. It filtered through. We were looking at the Stadia store, and a couple of you noted somehow there was a thing at the bottom, and then we noticed through Verge and then through the blog post, which went live, and finally the community post. So this show has made history, because this is the one where we found out about the end of Stadia, and we came together and we shared our sadness, our grief, our love for one another, our passion for this almost intangible thing. This thing that has existed miles from where we live and yet has touched our hearts. the people, myself and you guys, people that have become great friends to me, you and Ray and John and Clive and William and Bjorn and Holtz and so many more. And yet we've never physically met. And Stadia did that. Stadia pulled that together. But more importantly, we did it. That was us. So, Jerome says, unfortunately, I have some mobile games from Google Play that I'm too invested in to stop. No, I mean, look, I know our first reaction is to say, well, stuff you, Google. But, we've all got Android in various devices. I don't think you want to, the people that brought Stadia, they're as hurt as you and I. There's no question of that. This was a decision that was made dispassionately away from the business unit. I'm not even sure that it was ever a bona fide corporation. This was a decision made away from them, and they are as gutted as you and I are. They went to work this morning. They may have heard rumours, even in the last couple of weeks. They may have been. Mirage, I think, was the big flag. It was the big, the thing that was waving out there and saying, was a lot of us were like, no. And, I'd heard it was coming. Because I paid. I paid $50 of my hard-earned cash because I put my money where my mouth was. And the thing is I took counsel, as I do, from people that are quite close to the ground, and I was told that at Stadia, and when I say Stadia, I'm now talking about the box, the business unit, not the people like Phil and those above it, okay? I was told that they were as baffled about Mirage not coming as we were, that they were under the impression that we were getting all Ubisoft games, and they were looking into it to find out what the issue was. And I heard no more after that, but they did say, as far as they were concerned, they couldn't see any reason why it wouldn't come, and it was probably a misunderstanding. And that's why I went out there and said, hand on heart, I can't see it not coming. The one thing that I guess some said would happen, that would have made it, that would have underlined why it didn't happen, was the fact that Stadia was folding. And of course, if you are Ubisoft, you're going, if you are already in discussions with Stadia about creating a cloud gaming platform that uses that technology, then you will have been within those board level discussions under NDAs and stuff that says, we are actually shutting it down, guys. So you're probably not wanting to develop any more for Stadia. Word to the wise. Avery, long time no see, my friend. I hope you're keeping well. Talk about people that I made friends with over the years. I got to... I'll read the post in a second. I'll pop it back up again. I got to get little glimpses into people's lives who I would never, ever have met. People that have been doing this a lot longer than me, that offered support and encouragement and tips and wisdom and help, and people who got hurt along the way, who felt let down by the product, by the service, by the business, and felt that they'd had enough. And as I said earlier, and I've said it several times, not just on this show, those people, we're in that position now. We mustn't throw stones. It's not ours to judge why people make decisions. But, I never forget the fact that these people were friends and still are. I have no reason to not consider anybody not a friend. Thank you, Drap. Bless you, my friend, for subscribing. I ain't going nowhere. I have to wager that Xbox deciding to go all in on Game Pass was the decider here. Every piece of gaming news coming out of Microsoft started and ended with GPU. Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point, Avery. There's no question when you look at the market landscape when Stadia came out, GeForce Now was there, but it was battling hard to get any kind of credibility in the gaming world. I don't know this, by the way, but I've seen it written that they probably had to, grease people's palms with silver to get games on their platform. I'm sure Stadia did the same thing. Oh, we know they did. But undoubtedly, once they had paved the way, and they always say, the pioneers, the guys at the front, they're the ones that get the arrows in the back. I don't like that analogy if you're apportioning it to indigenous peoples of America, but people have been using bow and arrows everywhere in the world for a long time. So let's move that analogy to the Russian steppes. Anybody that moves into new territory typically get arrows in their back as everybody behind them goes, oh, I like what they're doing, let's move in on it. So it was kind of inevitable. It's just a shame that Google hadn't kind of built that into their business model, quite frankly. Blee Flew Flower, no worries, Rokk. Your community loves you. We come for the host, not for the product. Thanks, mate. I genuinely feel that. I genuinely feel that. That's why I do it. I say it to my family. Why do you... I mean, they never ask me why I do it, because they know. They saw me, my wife particularly, saw me pre-Stadia, the 2, 3, 4 years leading up to when I started doing this, and they saw where I was, how dark it had got. And they have seen me come through that whole process because of this. Who I am now. I used to be, when I first started in business up until about 2015, 16, I used to be bulletproof. I started in business when I was about 19 or 20, and up until my 48th birthday, I was bulletproof, and I believed I just believed that there would be a solution to everything. I was the eternal optimist. I believed absolutely that I would find a solution, and I always did. And then something happened around 2015. It absolutely knocked me around the room, and I went to the darkest place. And it wasn't until I got to this, 2020, early 2020, that it turned my life around. And my wife has, all my kids have noticed I'm back to my bulletproof self. Life has dealt lemons, and I'm back on my lemonade stand. Rather than soaking up the tears. And it's because of you guys. And it's that I try and share with you. The optimism, the fun, Stadia Rokk show, which is I absolutely adore my time with Ray and William and John. Those jokes, that banter, that chemistry, it is all real. It's of that moment. None of it is pre-written, structured, plastic. What you're seeing on that show is us, and that's what I love to bring to you guys. Kel says, Stadia got me back into gaming. I think I'm done with it. Again, it was fun. Oh, please don't, Kel. Just take a break. Gaming's not going anywhere. Just take a break, my friend. Don't let this put you off. Here for whatever. Thank you, Michael. Bless you, my friend. Just want you to know we're not going anywhere, Rokk. You're as much our home as we are yours. Oh, bless you, my friend. David, I've had the pleasure of some conversations behind the scenes with David. He is the same age as my eldest daughter. He is a lovely, lovely guy. I tell you now, if either of my daughters came home with David as a boyfriend, which I can assure you isn't going to happen, David, don't worry, I would feel proud to have him as part of the family. He's an absolutely lovely guy, and I mean that actually. I've even thought it in the past. Jerome says, I knew deep down Stadia was too good to be true. Yeah, I don't know that it was too good to be true. I mean, we knew that the technology works, okay? We know that. We know the technology works. We've seen them prove that cloud gaming is a serious contender. We've seen Microsoft recognize that it is almost certainly for them as well the future. No hardware, no piracy, monthly subscriptions, joy of joys, no distribution, no plastic, no manufacturing. Sony are just wringing out the last few dollars of their old school model. Trust me, they're on the way there. They're already there. They know. They're just wringing out the... I showed you last week on Rokk Players, if you watched it. I showed the guys that Sony's largest revenue generator, as of 21, I think, was games and networking. So they're not about to kill off their number one golden goose. So they have to transition from hardware to cloud at a much slower and more timid pace than Microsoft. Microsoft are like, you know what? Let's just do it, guys, because there's no way we're going to... we're all in on Game Pass now. Every single game from every studio that they've purchased is going to come out day and date on Game Pass. Ultimate on Game Pass. I just wish they would open out cloud gaming so that it isn't based on Ultimate. Maybe they will now. I really need to. Rudigs, who is a lovely Canadian. Are you from Toronto? Is it Toronto? Not Toronto. Quebec, isn't it? Quebec or Montreal, Rudigs. I've been watching, there's a guy over here called Griff Rhys-Jones. Clive knows him. And I love him, and he's an amazing comedian. He's been doing a whole tour of Canada, and although we're watching a few episodes back, he's just gone through Quebec and Montreal. And I said to my wife, I would emigrate to Canada in a heartbeat. She said, no, you wouldn't leave your mum and dad. I said, yes, I would. I would. They could come over. We've got FaceTime. We've got messages and WhatsApp and stuff. And I said this to my mum and dad, and they said, yeah, do it. Don't worry about us. Why Canada? I said, because I've never met a nasty Canadian. And the country looks gorgeous. They just a million reasons. A million reasons. Anyway, it's not going to happen. I'm too old. And at the end of the day, my kids are making their way in the world. I can't just distance myself. Oh dear, C. Hawkins, I'm beyond heartbroken. Don't even know what to do for gaming now. Stadia worked in so many ways. Now what? My friend, that is what we are going to explore in the coming days and weeks together. As a community, we are going to explore what next for us all. And I can talk some experience here because, as you know, I've got an Xbox Series X plus Game Pass Ultimate, at least till next August, I think. I've got PlayStation Plus Premium, so I've got all their gubbins. And I've got GeForce Now 3080 as well. Never made a secret of that. And I've always said Stadia is my spiritual home, and that's why I've got a channel dedicated to it. So, I can start talking more about my experiences there, and we can look at what the options are. There are options. The key thing is we stick together and stay together as a community. That's the important thing. Mark my words, says Gandara, 10 years from now, Google will regret pulling out the cloud gaming market. Yeah, they have gone to their natural habitat of providing the back-end services. That's what they've done. I think they've been incredibly uncomfortable with this public face thing. That's just not them, is it? They really are not comfortable with it. Put you, me and John in a 1-hour meeting with Sundar and Phil, and we've been able to have turned it around. It just makes you think. I just genuinely don't think that just this whole breakdown in the communication channels, I just don't think they ever properly listened. I was told by somebody close to the ground, and this really warmed my heart, that Stadia Rokk show was one of the favourite shows of the Stadia team, and that they loved to tune in and watch it whenever they could. I loved that. I always kept it at the back of my mind, that not that I expected Sundar or Phil to be watching, but just the guys on the ground that were delivering the service. that they tuned in from time to time and had a little chuckle and enjoyed what we were doing. I love that. I'd love to think that was the case. Well, Cammy, just heard about it. I know. I've been talking non-stop now for over 2 hours, and I still can't get my head around it. We literally went live just before they released the blog post. Not the blog post, because that was an hour after it went live. After Phil Harrison released his blog post, just went live at that point. Stadia announcement FAQ. Okay, may as well have a quick look at this, I guess. I just want to finish up with your chat, get up to date with the chat, really. Let me have a quick look through. Did you see blog post Rokk from Stadia? What today's message about Stadia means for players? Check it out if you haven't. I'm assuming you mean this one. Yeah, I read it out earlier, Rudigs. Which is kind of the bullet point stuff, isn't it? I'm going to have a look at this announcement FAQ because that's probably a little bit more detailed now. They're essentially just super powerful servers now that they can tweak to use for their current services. Now, of course, not the hardware's going nowhere. The skills for running those servers are needed. I don't think that anybody's going to lose a job, but they, as a team, have gelled and they're being broken apart and sent off. Having said that, a lot of them now working from home, as we all are. Hey, Lukey, how are you, my friend? Good to see you, buddy. Met so many awesome people through this community. I am thankful for it. Yeah, bless you. Same, dude. Chillin', yep. Very sad, Cammy. Double for me. Purple was giving me my first chance in a tournament in Stadia. I mean, I can't speak for Purple, but I don't know. I can't see any reason why it should stop unless they've turned off multiplayer. And I don't know if they've done that. Trevor, I literally bought an Xbox Series S 2 days ago for the games I wanted, and the last day I sold 2x CCUs, and a Stadia controller I kept for one for the service. Well, you're going to get your money back anyway, even having sold them. But you're right, it's an incredibly sad day. Hello, Ray. God bless you, mate. Love you, dude. You know it. You know it. I've told you privately and I've said it publicly, and I mean it. Oh, Humble, bless you. Thank you so much for that, buddy. Oh, that's really generous of you. Thank you so much, dude. Be blessed, Rokk. We will see you tomorrow. I don't know about tomorrow. I might have to take... Okay, so I didn't schedule a Rokk around the clock tomorrow anyway, because I've spent a long time putting together the big reveal, which we were going to go live with tomorrow, and which I'm going to talk to John about in a second. And I knew or suspected I'd have to spend more time getting it polished. I was so proud. I was so proud of it. And John and I have been so excited. We genuinely have looked... I mean, Ray knows what I'm talking about. And Ray, since I spoke to you, it's got even bigger. It's about half again in size. I don't want to keep hyping it up. We will come back. It will come back. Love you, Rokk. Thank you. Bless you, my friend. Crow, how are you, dude? It's a sad day. Rudix, we love you, Rokk. Thank you, buddy. There's literally no service like Stadia. No, it was unique. And I know some people have said, yeah, of course there is. Luna does this. And they all have their own models, but they all avoided Stadia's model. It was unique. Which is why we've got to pick apart the other services, guys, and think, what's the right thing for us? And we'll talk about that in the coming days. Next week, I'm going to be streaming on Saturday. In fact, and I intend to do it, I'm going to stream all of the Stadia Pro games, including Hot Wheels. So come and join me for that. We're doing it for 2 hours. I'm hoping to make a bit more money for Young Lives Saving Cancer. In fact, bless them, they messaged me this afternoon to say they've sent me a T-shirt in the post, first class today, so I'm hoping to have that in time to wear. Lovely people, amazing, amazing charity. And there's going to be the price of a full price game. So let's just underline that. The fact that you can no longer buy a Stadia game does not mean that you cannot still win a prize. I'm sure John is working on this as we speak. I suspect that it would become something like Google Play, G Play credits, tokens, PayPal donation, whatever. And there'll probably be a unitary value. So you'll still win, and you'll still be able to buy a game, not necessarily through Stadia. Never thought this day would come when I'd be saying that. Dear, oh dear. Guys, Bjorn and Holtz, you probably have guessed, I'm not going to be able to do Rokk Play tonight, dudes. I'm sorry. It's he's doing $50 Amazon gift cards. Thank you, Primo. I assume that would be the case. Yeah. I know I'm second guessing some of this. I've not been offline for the last 2 hours and 40 minutes because I felt I'm doing a bit of a public service here, talking stuff through with you guys. Yeah, but Bjorn and Holtz, if you guys want to go live, I can. If you guys want to do it, that's fine. I can set you up, but I need to go and have some thinking time. I need to process this. I need to have a chat with my wife, my family. I don't want to make it sound like I'm this big loss for Rokk, guys. It's not. I promise the channel will continue, and and I just know that when I come off this, I'm gonna need some time. My wife's texted me twice to say my dinner's ready. Bless her. She's just sneaking through the door now to tell me. I hope Google realizes they can never get in to the gaming industry again. This ruins their reputation. Yeah, I think you're right, Crow. 59 people watching the Stadia funeral. Is anyone from Stadia in here? Yeah, I suspect that is the case, Rudigs. I'm honoured, actually. I genuinely am. I'm honoured that you guys, and I guess, as the elder statesman, as the kind of the old uncle of the community, the guy that's kind of been there, seen that, been around the block a bit. Maybe this is my rightful place to share our grief, because it is grieving. I don't care that it's a gaming platform. I don't care that it's a form of entertainment. As I said, we've seen people who met their wife or their husband on Stadia. We've seen people who have seen children born and shared that with the community. We've got people like John who have literally shown their love for the community by getting tattooed. We've seen people like me who've set up for the first time in their lives. They've done something completely, to do something like this in my 50s, I can assure you people laughed. There are people that I know personally who laughed and said, yeah, it's your middle-aged crisis, it's your Harley. But they'll never know what this did for my well-being, for the love that I got back from you guys. Stadia has always been second to me to providing some kind of a service for you. I've always said it. I've said it through this show. So we get our money back. Victor, we get back the cash. Let's read this. Let's read the FAQ. How many more have I got here? Hang on a second. Bless you all for popping in. You're probably helping each other with answers and things anyway. I've put my 3 controllers in the cupboard. Well, mine are sat behind me. Look, there's the white one. I've got 2 wasabis. I've got an unboxed Premier Pack, and I've got my Founders. My Founders, they're not going to work, are they? Let's be honest. I think once they stop working, then I might get my Founders mounted in one of those 3D boxes with a glass thing, because you know what? it's a big part of my life. This not quite 3 years. We're going to hit 3 years in a month or two. This 3 years of my life have, with the exception of my family and maybe the early years in business, these have been the happiest days of my life. Yeah. Rudig's Ricardo's from Toronto, same town as John, and Nad's my co-host on my show is from Quebec. I knew one of you was. I just looks gorgeous, Canada. Stadia needs to hire you as a grief counsellor. Oh, bless. Look, if this show provides that, if I provide that, it's been worth it. It's been worth 2.5, 3 hours. I don't know what I've got for my tea. That's what I call dinner, by the way, because I'm working class. I am working class. Thank you, Rokk. This is closure for me. I appreciate your time. Oh, bless you, Matt. You see, that if I've achieved that today, then that was worth waking up for. I don't know what's going to happen to our show. The late night Stadia show will need to change. Thank you, Rokk. Mate, that was the next message. Sorry. Yeah, and you guys were just breaking through as well, and I was really proud to see what Nads did the other day with that video. I could see loads of ways it could be improved, and I didn't want to bombard you because you've got to learn some stuff yourselves, and I hope it's done really well for you. With that one little tweak. But I love seeing people like yourselves doing well in doing this thing around the Stadia community. I hope we can continue to do that and support each other. Nad's just found out. Oh, I bet he's really upset. More grieving from all my friends. They struck a mithril vein and they didn't know what to do with it. Well, that's a good point. Xbox Gold Live has got to go. Has got to go next to allow online multiplayer for free. I'm not close to Xbox, but I think I've seen that happening. I think they're winding down the quality of the games for Gold. I think that's probably coming up. Screw it. Screw it, says David. I saw we keep being the Stadia community. I say we keep being the Stadia community. Just because they thought of the name Stadia doesn't mean... Yeah, ultimately it's plural for stadium, right? So we come together in our Stadia. They probably got it trademarked, mate, to be honest. It's like in Thor, we're a people, not a platform. No, I totally agree. I know it sounds cheesy. I know there'll be people laughing. Who gives a shit? Crow, David, don't remind me of Thor. Now I need to grind that XP out all over again. Gotta beat Sekiro. Oh yeah, complete Mafia 3, complete. Yeah, get those games done, folks. Get them done. This community was a cool one. Still is, Cammy. I don't want it to go anywhere. We'll always support you, Rokk. Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. You see, these are people, I've never met you people, but I absolutely feel the love, the support, the great vibes. I feel it, honestly. I just want to bounce it back at you. I can't tell you yet, but the thing that John and I are planning to do, that we were planning to launch tomorrow. I even came up with a new name for it today that was relative to you, the community, and why we feel it would have been 3 months of bringing this community together. I'd still want to do it. We just need to rethink it, that's all. Primo just confirmed that John's doing the $50 Amazon gift cards instead. So that's great news. So the way it works is you come from tomorrow, and sorry, John, I forget the time. John will kick it off. There will be a streamer, content creator, every hour or 2 hours, all the way through to Sunday. In each of their shows, They will be pushing a charity of their choice. In my case, it's Young Lives versus Cancer, but everybody has a different charity. Everyone who donates, and honestly, and I spoke to the charity about this yesterday, I don't care if it's 50 pence, if it's $1, anything. Anyone who donates to that charity will be in the prize draw for that $50 Amazon gift card. That's how it works. So you don't just turn up, you've got to donate. Most of us, we can see the people that have donated, and then most likely after the show, we'll randomly choose who's going to win that and then contact them. So, put 50p, put 10 cents in every pot for every charity. It doesn't matter what the amount is. Whatever you give is heartfelt, and you stand a chance in every one of those games, every one of those streams, of winning a game. How are you, geek? What's next? Yeah, what's next indeed? Well, for me, I'm definitely coming back on Monday. There's no reason why this show cannot be called Rokk Around the Clock. If anything, I can now find more news. It's not just going to be Stadia news. I think what I'm going to do, and I need to talk to my friends Bjorn and Holtz, I think what we'll do is we will move the Rokk Player show to the main channel, because honestly, it is a really good show. It would have been starting 10 minutes from now, but I can't do it after we've finished here. I can't put the time in tonight. I need to go and spend some time to process this. But it is a great show. And the people that have been supporting and watching it have literally messaged me and said it's one of the highlights of their week. So I think I will move it mainstream into the main channel, and Rokk Around the Clock will widen its gamut so that we talk about the day's cloud gaming news. I don't know that that's going to be from Monday, but it's going to be soon. The other thing that I want to do, and I may devote Monday, I may devote the whole of next week to working with you guys on working together to work through this process. What next? What next? As Geek says, where should we go next as cloud gamers? Where should we go next as a community? What's the right place for me? This is why I loved Stadia. Question, which of the other options works best for me? Who is launching? Who has launched recently where I should maybe hang back and have a look? We'll do that talking together. We'll do that exploring together. I'll answer your questions from my experiences with the platforms that I've been subscribing to for a little while now. And we'll work that out together. And then I will expand this show to include cloud gaming news. Might have to come up with a little bit of a different logo approach, but that's not a problem. We'll do it. Okay, guys? That's my promise. We'll work on that together. We need a shepherd for the flock, Rokk. Yeah, I'm happy to be your shepherd. Of course, with me, you never get slaughtered. I could never harm my flock. Yeah, I'm going to keep going, Dre. I love it. It's not the buzz. It's quite funny, there used to be a big old adrenaline rush, and I'm sure any of you that does this, when we all start, there's this intrepidation. It's like an adrenaline buzz that you get going live. It's nervous energy, and then at the end of it, you're like, wow, it's a high. That does disappear after a while, and then I think, and I'm not going to say for 1 minute that every streamer, every content creator has the same experience. My experience was elation, a natural high initially, and then a flat kind of, oh my God, this is so hard work. It genuinely is hard work to put on shows like this, to put live shows on, Stadia dosage, masses of work. And so there's this kind of flat spot where you think, oh, I can't go on. And then you suddenly realise, this is again me, you suddenly connect. And I feel like I connected the day that I made the decision to do Rokk Around the Clock every day. so that I had content every day at the same time. And initially it wasn't, 8, 9 people turned up. And gradually it built up and it built up and it built up. And I know this stream has had an amazing amount of people. I know that. We've got a reason we've come together. But I have been getting up into the 20s every show because I made a connection. And I've made a connection with people that I love to see every day. We talk every day, we engage every day, we share support for each other, we share love for each other. And we've done that around Stadia. But it's you and me together. So we'll do that. We'll widen it out. We'll include GeForce, we'll include it. And there's tons of gaming news every day. So if anything, it's going to come back bigger, brighter. It's going to be amazing. Thanks for what you've done, Rokk. Oh, bless you, Lukey. Thanks for what you do, my friend. He is the king of the shorts. Actually, Lukey, I keep meaning to ask, is there a way that you can make a short from a show like this? Because I've seen how I can record something, but on my phone, but I've never been sure how I do it from a little clip in a show. Tell me offline. Don't no need to say anything here. Thank you to all of you for your content over the years. Yep, and the games. I'm devastated, but thankful for the friendships I hope will continue somehow. Oh, bless. That's what I've been saying from the beginning of this show, my friend. We came live just before the news broke, almost 3 hours ago now. And we, you could go back and see it happen. I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. It felt like Stadia Games and Entertainment, but at least then it was just a division. It was a part of it. We thought, oh no, Google Stadia's got to go on. It's got to go on. We would not be here without Stadia. Oh, bless you, Ray. I genuinely have love for this man. He is one of the most kind-hearted people, and I feel blessed. There's a handful of people that I feel blessed that this process has introduced me to, and Ray is one of them. And I genuinely mean this. If Ray and I were in the same town, I promise you we would be best buddies. That's how I feel about this guy. I adore him. And every time I launch a new show, Ray is the first person I ask because the chemistry between us is amazing. The chemistry between John and I is amazing. The chemistry between William and me and Bjorn and Holt is amazing. It's taken me a long time to find my, you know how Shakespeare had his players. There was a team of actors that he, over time he tried and tested till he found the guys. Mainly guys, by the way, because back in Shakespearean time, women weren't, or at least they were frowned upon. They weren't allowed on the stage, so the men would dress as women. And these guys are like my Shakespearean players. There have been other people like Clive who I've done some amazing work with, and I know I will again in the future. And absolutely consider him, right up there in terms of friends. But these guys turn up week in, week out. They never moan. They never say, oh, I can't be bothered. Every single week they turn up. I love them pieces. I'm sad to see it go, says Sean, but I'm grateful for what it provided. That's a nice way of putting it, my friend. I wonder who will get the biggest refund and how much. Well, there's a question, isn't it? Wow. I know that there are people who have bought masses of games. I don't know how many I've bought. I've bought a load. I have bought a load. I don't know. That probably won't be anywhere near some people, though. Cyberpunk and Stadia helped so much with my mental state during the pandemic. 100%, Mr. McGee. That is exactly how I think. It's one of the massive cementing blocks that brought us all together, because that was a hugely depressing time, and for a lot of us still continues. I just hope, I just hope that for my little hour a day, that I can give people a respite from the grind and the pain that exists in the world right now. Because boy, does it exist in the world right now. Let me just respond to a tweet here. I think it's not going to show up online. Let me just quickly. Yes, but okay. John, we'll find a way, my friend. We'll find a way. Mr. McGee says, I hope I saw my total purchase is a little short of $3,000. Wow. Wow, sir. Well, that is, yeah, you definitely outstripped me there 100%. Dinner's ready. It is. I keep getting messaged. I don't know what it is, though, bless her. I've been married for 33 years. Next 32 years. I can honestly say I was so lucky. My wife is the most amazing, the most supportive. She is an unbelievable mother and an unbelievable wife. And there is no way I could have got this far without her. And you guys, in so many ways, took the baton from my wife and took the pressure away from her when she was my rock for the 3-4 years before I started doing this. No, it's not anon. It really isn't. Over 2 years, I know. You could possibly dedicate your channel to cloud gaming more broadly. Michael, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I started doing that with Rokk Play, but yeah, I only ever got 60 odd subscribers to that. But I think there's only one permanent show on there that I do, which is Rokk Players, which would have gone live tonight. I've just literally had Holtz asking me if we were going live. Luckily, Bjorn intercepted it. We will, guys, I'll talk to you after. This is, if anything, all we'll do now is we'll move it to the main channel. It's such a good show. I really love doing it with them as well. $3,000, I know. Jamie Lee, good to see you, my friend. Cracking up a bit here. Such a sad day. What I don't like seeing is people lapping up others' misery on Twitter. Yeah, arseholes. People have lost passions, jobs, etc. Please be thoughtful. Yeah, Jamie Lee, we have been going now for 3 solid hours. We went live our normal time of 5. UK, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. And literally minutes into the show, it popped up that there was a message on the Stadia store saying that you could no longer buy games. And it was over. We didn't believe it. And then seconds later, look at this. The Stadia store doesn't even have your games there anymore. Wow. This is interesting. Look, all of these people, it says online, and very few of them actually say they're playing a game. I don't know what that means. But yeah, the store is no more. Stadia is winding on the slow wind down. It is a dead man walking. Wow. Geek has been a great supporter of mine as well. Thank you so much, buddy. I do know his real name. And I really appreciate what you've done as well for me and the community. Stadia is the best community. I've been a part of it, hands down. You absolutely have, my friend. Thank you so much. $2,308. Wow. Where do you see total purchases? Has anyone else been contacted by journalists? I've had contact from someone at the New York Times who wants to know my experience of Stadia. Wow. Well, I'd love to think that this channel got a little bit of a fillip after Philip. No, I mean, I may have done, in honesty. I haven't checked my tweets at all. I've kind of felt like, and I haven't seen the numbers drop below 50 for some time now. Kind of felt like you guys deserve a place to come and not feel like you're going to get ridiculed or hate. Nobody, thank God, has had anything negative to say in the chat, and I really appreciate that, people, because I'm not managing it at the moment. If somebody popped in and said something, then just ignore them. Michael says these refunds are going to be like an unexpected tax return for some people. Yeah, it's a good point, isn't it? I don't know where tax figures in all of this. I mean, very few of you will have bought these games and put them down to tax. But some of us might have done. Not saying I did. Big Steve, there is no way I will ever have a game library the same size or the same diversity again. Yeah, it's a good point, mate, isn't it? Some of those games in the Pro Libs, there's no way I'd have bought those. And yet they turned out to be some of my favourite games. In Stadia, this is how you find out. In Stadia, hit Stadia settings, purchases and subscriptions. There will be a purchase history total. Oh, I'm not going to bring mine up. I believe you. John doesn't have a total. That's interesting. John, I'm using a Stadia extension on my Chrome browser. That may be why. Not crazy about the current CEO of Google and the way... Yeah, this whole... I mean, talking about Alphabet, old Sundar. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. The business press is covering this as part of a wider effort from Google to cut costs. Wonder why they rounded on you, Jamie Lee. It is interesting. I'm honestly very interested in Boosteroid now. Check it out. Check it out. I mean, as I said, I asked them, I approached them and said, in seriousness, I was looking at possibly covering a video on them. They gave me, I think, 10 hours. It was a fairly paltry amount of time. But the truth is that, like GeForce Now, you had to own the games anyway. And when I fired them up, they looked like games that I've played in cloud gaming. I struggled to say anything particularly different about the service. And that doesn't mean that it isn't right for you. I just couldn't see the reasoning. Sean, how are you, my friend? Glad to hear you will continue past Stadia. Rokk will love to see you do Steam Deck. Mate, you know what? I came that close today to pressing the buy button. You've done it for me. I'm really quite keen. I just want to give it a bit more thought, but I am super duper keen. Super duper keen. Bjorn, I can show you next time we chat, unless you've figured it out until then. Oh, wow. So if we watch the beginning of the stream, we get your live reaction. Yeah, literally. So the show went live at 5, my time, as it always does. And I'm like, hi, everybody. Let's get a chit-chat. Let's go over to the... I don't even think we got as far as the news. No, we didn't. We didn't get as far as the news. And then somebody in the chat said, oh, there's a thing on the Stadia store saying it's closing down. And I thought, get out of here. That ain't the case. Went there. There it was. So literally this show made history because we broke it. We broke the news, and I've been online, live on air ever since, consoling people, talking it through, trying to process it, working out what's next, talking through the issues, reading the blog posts, just helping people to come to terms, just like you do, just like it goes. Loads of people look like they're going to do extremely well in their cashback, which is a bonus. Beyond thinks it should net him a 30 series gaming laptop. Yeah, that's awesome, my friend. Dre can't see it, sadly, as I change country. Oh, that's a good point, isn't it? Yes, they're not great at doing that, are they? Mr. MCG, you've been a great help as well. Much appreciated. Oh, bless you, my friend. Yeah, it's just sometimes it's just nice to have somebody that you know that you know isn't going to go, well, I told you so, or, all of that stuff. And you just want to have this isn't the time to do a post-mortem where Stadia went wrong, where Google went wrong, where the community broke down. There's not time for that now. There will be time, and there will be plenty of people. There will be plenty of people, plenty of shows, some really interesting dialogues and discussions and commentary. That will come. And I'm looking forward to it as the next person, but it's not what you're going to get from me. You guys know that. I've never pretended any different from my stuff, and you're certainly not going to get it from me today. Looks like the news came in about 16 minutes into the stream, says Michael. Yeah, I mean, it's there. This is a historic stream. For those of us in the Stadia community, it ain't historic for anybody else, of course. Yeah, loads of people are going to make a load of money, just over £1,000, including the Founders Edition. And you get to keep all the stuff you bought as well. Well, games ain't going to work, but they're also saying, don't forget, guys, that they're going to help. No, they didn't say they're going to help, but they talked about having enough time to transition your saves to those games elsewhere. That's all fine and dandy, of course, if you own that game elsewhere. So there may well be, don't forget all the money that you're getting back, some of that you might want to keep back, because if you do have games that you own, like FIFA, Cyberpunk, that you want to continue playing, you might want to buy them elsewhere with that money and then transition your saves over. And I'm relying on these guys. I'm going to hold them true to their word to help explain how to do that. And I'm sure developers and studios will be there to help us with that. Yeah. I haven't yet, but I don't think it's up to the level of you guys. I am a skinflint, and I have revelled in being able to save a load of money. So I try and avoid. I genuinely probably buy a game every 4 months. Games with Joe. How are you, dude? Twitter is crazy. Yeah, just let it do its thing. Just, let it do its thing. There are those that were right. Let's not take that away from them. They were right. They called it. They guessed it. They wanted to show the evidence they had. Rightly, they didn't do that, but they were right. That's fine. And as I've said, in the days and weeks to come, they will have their day in the sun to argue their points, demonstrate why they felt they were correct and where they felt the platform could have done a lot better. That's, and I, for one, will be watching them, and there will be no hate, there will be no toxicity. That's not what we're about as a community. We stay together. We centre on cloud gaming, whichever platform. I, for one, this show will now become a cloud gaming daily news show. Rokk players will move Thursday evenings to this channel, and Stadia Rokk Show will change, but it's going to be something else. I just need to make my mind up what that is. Maybe I don't know. No. It's not. This is why I've got to go and process all of this. I'm not letting those guys go, though. Any of those guys of either of those shows. I love my time with them all, and I love the chemistry, and I know you do as well. So that's okay. If it's one thing that I'm renowned for, it's invention and solving issues. You've seen the amount of shows that I've created, and some of them unique. Holt's got an email from a newspaper. They wanted to know when my channel was starting, but told them they ain't. Today was a good day. I love that people are getting contacted by the press. I probably got Sky News on the phone. It's like, hi, it's Fox News. What do you reckon? I think he's insane. That's what I reckon. I'm gutted I'm going to lose my family library. Yeah, that's true. The Razer handheld looks very interesting. Oh, so we were going to cover that in tonight's show, weren't we? Duncan, how are you, dude? You, my friend, are obviously, you heard what I just said. You know my feelings. You called it. This is, this is your time to guest on shows where you break down your thoughts. I know you've got a lot of them. And I also know, and I've said this publicly and privately, you wanted Stadia to succeed, but you believed it had fundamental issues which would ultimately lead to its demise. You were right. Unitrix, how are you, bud? I hope you're well. I hope you're keeping well. Good to see you. But Sean is correct. My shows, my channel were all about the community, always. Stadia was the catalyst. It was the light that the campfire that we congregated around. But we can light another fire. We just need to stay together as a community, and that's the key thing. Lord Moore, long time no see, my friend. It's been a while. Yeah, I hope you're keeping well, buddy. Since I saw the news, thought I'd drop in. Well, I haven't been on Stadia for a while. It was decent while it lasted, and technically the games are business expenses. Yeah, thank you. That's made me feel happy. Honestly, it's great to hear from you, bud. I hope you're keeping well. I miss you. We miss seeing you around. You were good. You was a good guy. I'll play on everything, but Stadia was my favourite way. It's how I am as well. And we'll start next week. We will start to look at the options. We'll start to think about the transition. We'll collect and gather all the other information that's going to come out. And we'll make our way forward together as the cloud gaming community that we are. We stay together as Stadians. I never really liked Stadians. I'm going to be honest with you now. As a word, didn't like it. Take your time and reset. Yeah, I'm not going to show up tomorrow, guys. I wasn't going to do Rokk Around the Clock anyway, as you know. And as soon as I come off of this, I've got a load of conversations to have with my boys and stuff. But, I promise you this, I will be back next week. I ain't going nowhere. And I think we've got a fairly good feel, haven't we? Just within the 3 hours and 15 minutes that we've been chatting, we've got a fairly good feel for what's going to arise from this phoenix. 40 to 60 hours for the main story, which came... Oh, Red Dead 2. Doesn't include a bunch of... The funniest thing of all is, Michael, this is probably the only instance of a game... No, I did have other games that I completed elsewhere and then bought them on Stadia. So I'd completed Red Dead on PlayStation 4 when it came out. And then I bought it again on Stadia because I saw everybody having so much fun with it online in the posses and things. The joke is, I fired it up, but I never got far enough into the campaign to do the online stuff. So, c'est la vie. I get my money back. Yeah, I know, Jerome. This is the thing, isn't it? So many games. I bought on sale that would probably be $3,000 or more worth of games. Yeah, mate. So, guys, I think after 3 hours and 20 minutes of me solidly talking, it's probably a good time to wrap up the show. I'm just going to leave you by reiterating, really, not what's happened. We all know what's happened, and if you're new to the show and you really don't know, please just wind it back. Go back, as Mr. MCG said, go back to about 16 minutes into the show when it all unfolded. You will see the shock, and what we've done for the last 3 hours is try to process some of this. We've thought things through. I think we've done a good job, guys, together. I think we've done a good job processing. So we will dust ourselves down. We'll take the weekend. Please make sure you continue to support all of the Stadia content creators. There's some like me that are blessed with a fantastic membership and subscriber base, and support. But there are many, many more that show up day after day with 2 or 3 people, and they keep going. And my heart bleeds when I see those guys. Please keep supporting them. Every one of those is going to have to come to a similar decision to me. So let's keep on top of it together as a community. And in a couple of weeks' time, I don't know, this Saturday, the 1st of October, may be the last pro games we ever see. What about From Space? I was really looking forward to playing From Space. Oh, flip, a whole other hour just unfolded. We'll work all that stuff through next week. We'll process it. We'll think about it. We'll look at what the best platforms are for each of our game user cases. And I will come back with Rokk Around the Clock, daily cloud gaming news. I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to make my life so much easier, because every day I struggle to find more than a couple of bits of news. And many days, Stadia Source and Stadia Dosage and Stadia Hoy, they've got nothing from the previous, they've got nothing since the previous couple of days. Somehow I managed to get us through it. We'll do much better once I'm able to open out. It's a wow. It is a wow. Jeff, I said this earlier, and thank you, my friend. I feel for the Stadia team. It feels clear all of them did not see this coming. I think you're absolutely right. I think we have had some of them in watching the show today. I hope watching us talking, hearing me talk, us sending our love and sympathy out to them will have somehow helped even a little bit. I'm convinced that most, if not all of them, will be rehomed within Google. But, you build bonds and teams and stuff. So, yeah, thank you, if you are watching from Stadia. Thank you for what you have done in helping us to build this campfire that we have been coming together around now for almost 3 years. And please keep in touch with us if you can. Let us know you're okay. That would be amazing. Yeah, Trevor, sadly, I think it will be a microwave job. Oh dear, oh dear. Brandon, thank you, my friend. You know I love you too. Just stay safe, dude. Just stay safe. And, he's got all the hurricane. I know family members of Brandon's have had to abandon their home and take flight further north into Florida, where Brandon lives. Right. I'm going to leave you at this point, guys. Please come to the Caring from the Community streams Friday, Saturday, Sunday. My slot is Saturday, I think it's 7 p.m. UK time, whatever that is, across the world. I'll be doing 2 hours and I'll just be playing the Stadia Pro games. But given today, we'll just, every time I go live from now on, guys, you and I are going to talk about this, okay, until we've worked through the next stages. I want you to know that you can approach me here or on Twitter or anywhere else that I live, and we'll work through this and process this together. Good job, Rokk. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, buddy. Right, guys, I'm leaving you now, but only for a few days. Stay offline. There are going to be people on there laughing. Let them have their day. Just go and give your loved ones a hug. Go and play your games. Take a nice hot bath. Go for a walk if it's daytime. Let them have their day. And then we'll come back Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and we'll show the gaming world why this community was, is and will be the best. You take care. Rokk, clocking out.